What's up, and welcome back to the Section 10 podcast, episode 556, presented by Underdog Fantasy. It is the home of your 39-37 fourth place Boston Red Sox. My name is Jared Carabas, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Coley Mick, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Tyler Milliken, and he killed his dog Bullet, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room. T, how you doing?
Ooh, what up, Section 10 in the building?
In the mother fucking building. Brewed by Blue Moon.
Suck one.
Produced by Jake Yazzie.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, Jake. Fuck no to T, though. He's in a lot of pain, so we're gonna try and do this podcast as quickly and as pain-free as possible because he's probably on his way to the emergency room. Don't fret. He just has his back is in pain. Remember when he took his shirt off in the Green Monster? He had the Shaq patch on his back. It's only gotten worse. Yep, there it is.
I got the patches right here.
There it is.
Yes, no free ads.
Yeah, no free ads. Yeah, if you want to sponsor T's back, there's a lot of real estate, so you can throw an ad back there and help my guy out because he's in pain, and we don't want him to feel pain. We don't want the listeners to feel pain. First and foremost, I do want to address the listeners of Baseball is Dead. If there are any that listen to Section 10, they think I'm ducking them because I wasn't on Monday and Wednesday's pod. I flew to Arizona Monday, and then I flew back literally the entire fucking day. My flight got delayed twice today. I woke up at like 5:30 a.m. local time, traveled the entire day, walked in the house at 8 p.m., ate a leftover cheeseburger, showered, and then hopped on the pod. So I'm doing as many podcasts as I can. It just so happens that the last two happen to be Section 10. So I'm sorry if you're a Baseball is Dead fan. You think I'm ducking you. I will be on the show tomorrow morning. T?
I want to apologize to Jay. Hey, he had reached out to me to come on and talk Sox, but unfortunately I had to work. But I was very upset that I couldn't do a couple minutes with him, and I saw a lot of people asking for it. So I'm sorry I let you down. Also, I'm wearing glasses because it hurts to bend down and do contacts and things like that. So I'm sorry if I'm ugly.
Where do you keep your contacts?
In like a cabinet.
On the floor?
No, but like when I'm like moving around and reaching right now, all of that's bad. Like putting pants
so
on.
You've got
bad.
no range of motion.
None. Sitting on a toilet is like one of the worst things that could possibly happen.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just got a text from Train, who apparently all the way downstairs could hear the intro to that. She just texted me, "You just started. I feel like you've been up there forever." I had to shout out to Train. Patient during the baseball season. I mean, I'm flying all over the place. I'm doing a lot of different stuff. She's being patient with it, which, shout out for the support. But this is going to be a podcast where I'm assuming there's going to be a divide because there's the Rafael Devers news fatigue people where they just want to move on and they just want to talk Sox. We're going to talk about the Sox. We're going to talk about the series. We're going to talk about moving forward. However, it would be wildly irresponsible if we just ignored the press conference, if we ignored the new news that's come out since the trade. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was the trade was the same day that we recorded, or was the next day?
Sure,
same day. Yeah, it was the same day. All right, yeah. So we had like a couple, maybe 5 hours after the trade broke when we did the last episode. There's a whole bunch of new reports that have come out. We'll sift through what we believe. I feel like it would be also irresponsible of us to just take everything at face value. We will tell you what the reports are. We will offer you our opinions on the reports. I'm sure that there'll be some disagreements amongst the panel tonight in terms of what is believable, what is unbelievable. But I would suggest that you download the Underdog Fantasy app before you continue listening any further, because we've been throwing picks out. I think I just hit a pick 'em 2 nights ago. I'm back on my grind, throwing my picks out there. We're just cashing in. We love that. Make sure you sign up the promo code Jared. That's JARED to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. I'll probably have some more picks tomorrow. I mean, it's crazy. Like we almost went to San Francisco this weekend. Like that was something that we were throwing around. So I flew to Arizona Monday morning. That's like an all-day travel day. did the combine in Arizona yesterday, flew back all day today, doing Section 10 tonight, and then I have a wake and a funeral Thursday, Friday, and then we were going to fly to San Francisco on Friday to then go in kayaks on Saturday. But I was like, well, if Raffy hits one into McCovey Cove on Friday, then it sucks that we just did all that. So we're going to live stream on Friday night for the Red Sox first game against San Francisco Giant Rafael Devers. We will be doing that on playback. So here's the deal. We're giving out 50 free MLB TV 1 month subscriptions in the chat for this stream. That's a pretty awesome deal. That's only on playback. So it'll be playback.tv/underdog MLB. It'll be a remote stream because the game starts at 10:15 and we don't need these idiots screaming in my house until 1 o'clock in the morning. Also, Coley is coming from Maine and T needs to rest. I don't need T.
He'll be in the hospital, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be live streaming from the hospital, it sounds like. But yes, 50 free MLB TV 1 month subscriptions to the folks in the chat on Friday night for Red Sox Giants, Raffy's first game against the Red Sox. Okay. So I tried to prep T on this and say, I think it would be a good idea if we put together the entire timeline and went through it just to give full context, because I thought it was very funny. There was a Reddit thread about like, how many of you guys listen to Section 10 and you're not even Red Sox fans? You don't even watch the games. And a bunch of people were like, love the pod, don't care about the Sox. I'm just like, okay, all right. So if there's, for anyone that wants to paint the full picture of what the fuck is going on with the Rafael Devers saga, we're going to take you through the journey and the context. It just weaves and bobs and it goes and until we get to Friday night, which is the end result of Rafael Devers, the San Francisco Giant, probably playing first base after all this against the Boston Red Sox in San Francisco. So T, take it away.
So I tried when I did this, I'm always aggregating and doing the different things with these tweets. So I'd like to think I have a good order of the entire timeline. If there is anything in here that I missed or forgot, please don't hesitate to post it on the subreddit or DM me about it. I put a lot of time into this. It's 3 or 4 pages deep, but this is every story essentially going back to 2024 all the way up until the John Henry meeting and the fallout from that. I think after that, we're essentially talking about what's happened the last week or so. But the first, inclination or speculation about Rafael Devers ever playing first base, it starts on September 13th, 2024. Ken Rosenthal drops an article that lists Alex Bregman as the free agent that makes the most sense for the Red Sox. The idea is to move Devers to first base. Tristan Casas is traded. At that time, we all confirmed we heard mumblings and rumblings around the ballpark that were coming into Scoop Shop or whatever it may be, that this was something that was being discussed in the dugout, and by different people, this was a pathway they really liked. The next time we heard about Devers' positional situation was the end of season press conference. In that spot, Breslow says moving Devers hasn't been discussed, but if it were to happen, it'd be discussed internally before publicly. Didn't rule it out. Says he'd speak with Devers before any decisions were made. Next up, on November 4th, after Nick Pivetta...
That's very important to note, T.
Yes, it's a very important note in this. I listened to the press conference today. That is in there, and he doubles down on November 4th. This was right after Nick Pivetta got the QO, the media session that night. He continues to say, I have not had any conversations with Devers about changing positions. Says once again that if there is a switch, we will discuss it internally before they become external. Highlights during this press conference. You can go back and listen to it. It's online in multiple spots. The progress Devers made defensively last season, highlights it and says it's hard to judge how much progress he even made because of the injuries he played through at the time. Alex Spear, when he posts this, has a quote from his agent saying he is a third baseman and he will continue to play third base and work hard to get better at it. That's his position. That's what he likes to play, and that's what he will be playing. At least in the near future, that's where he will be. Down the road, it's hard to say, but as of right now, in the near future, he's a third baseman. Over the next month, he would put out multiple reports, and I'm going to hit on them here. But our next saga or moment in this whole sweepstakes was November 24th. Sean McAdam reports on Nolan Arenado being a plan B for the Red Sox. In that article, it's noted the Red Sox have discussed internally moving Rafael Devers off of third base. If you're just piecing reports together, and this is a little bit out of the timeline, we find out from McAdam, Arenado was plan B. Jen McCaffrey reports after Alex Bregman signs that after they missed out on Juan Soto, they had turned their focus to Alex Bregman. So Arenado was the plan B. We know in the following months that's how it played out. We know Bregman was the plan A that they were trying to go for. On December 7th, right before the winter meetings, Alex Speier reports the Red Sox have discussed moving Devers off third as a possibility for 2025, but it's more a concept rather than a defined plan. It's also reported that Devers badly wants to remain at third and is training accordingly. No talks have still happened. December 10th, we get the article saying that Alex Cora and Sam Kennedy are big proponents of Alex Bregman. Craig Breslow and some people in baseball ops, not so much. That day as well.
Yeah,
Alex
what's to like about a fucking middle of the order bat that plays Gold Glove defense and is like a huge team leader and a veteran presence and a proven winner? I don't see the fit.
More than fair. At this same time, Cora has his first media session at the baseball winter meetings. He talks about envisioning Alex Bregman as always a player up the middle. He has no worries about him turning a double play. After that, things go pretty cold for the next couple weeks until the winter weekend festivities. Cora's asked directly where Bregman would play. Cora says Rafael Devers is his third baseman and highlights again how he always viewed Alex Bregman as a Gold Glove second baseman. That's a quote.
This is Fan Fest?
Yes, Fan Fest, whatever they called it this year. It's when he's sitting with TC. TC forces the question.
But I wanted to make sure.
I want to say, when's the last time Raffy went to Fan Fest?
Because that was what I was going to bring up. It was very important to note, as a big pro Devers guy, it's important to note he was scheduled to be there up until it started. Like when it started, they were like, by the way, he's probably not going to come. He was, like he had said, and it's not part of the timeline. He had said, like, I am going to make a little bit more of an effort, and immediately did not. So as a Devers guy, that is what happened to this.
Yes. And then at like this I feel like is missing from your timeline because it wasn't a report. It's just something that happened with us. But Steve, that fucking big-headed idiot, remember when we put out the like, oh, like Raffy to DH or first base, this will be awesome. And then Raffy liked it and Steve took it as, see, he's on board. And I was like, no, I think he liked that as a fuck that. Like, I'm letting you know that I see this and I hate it. So that also happened. I can't remember what month that was, but that did happen around this time.
It was before Bregman signed, so it was around then.
Yep.
I will say another note in here that I didn't include. Going back to the middle of last year, there were complaints coming out through Chris Cotillo, a lot of Mass Live, that officials with the Red Sox were unhappy with Devers not talking with the media after the game, sneaking out on the back door, whatever it may be. But to pick up where we were, the next thing after the winter weekend festivities or the Wonderland, whatever you want to call it, Rafael Devers
Santa's
arrives.
Enchanted Village.
Yes, fired me. Rafael Devers arrives in the middle of January to Fort Myers to start getting ready. They had him go down early because obviously his shoulder was healing up. They were trying to get him back on track. So I think that is a major part of this story that gets forgotten. Devers at Fort Myers, the middle of January. At this
first
point,
guy there.
Yes. At this point, the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman to a 3-year deal on February 13th. Jeff Passan reports the plan is still for Bregman to play second base. Everything around the team at that point in time is saying that Bregman was going to be at second base. You go to February 15th when Bregman shows up. Alex Cora isn't willing to lock Alex Bregman into being the team's second baseman. Bregman takes grounders at second base and turns 2 with Trevor Story that day. That clip ends up doing numbers on social media. During this period, Rafael Devers goes home for his daughter's birthday after already he was in Fort Myers for weeks at that time. When he returns that weekend, he has the meeting with the team over changing positions. That Monday, I believe on February 18th, is when you have the famous media session. I play third. Boom.
Which I don't know if you have it in this. He was asked if he would play first during that. It wasn't just like, are you going to DH? He said, no, I play third. Like they asked him, will you play first? And that's not the team. It was the media, but it was in front of a lot of microphones. And he made the point to be like, I'm a third baseman or I'm out of here.
Yes.
Continue.
At the same time, over the next couple weeks, the drama continues to kind of build up, but there's not much talking. We're waiting to see whether Bregman's going to play a game at second base. He's in the lineup at third base to start the Grapefruit League and never ends up touching second base. In the first week of March, Devers ends up coming out and saying he's willing to do whatever it takes to help the team. Through Sean McAdams' reporting, we find out that Red Sox officials told him at multiple points in the offseason, this is Rafael Devers, that there wasn't anything to the Alex Bregman and Nolan Arenado rumors. We also find out during that meeting he had when he came back that he considered asking for a trade. We have nothing formal of a trade request. I know Julian McWilliams has reported that, but I have yet to see.
Pap said it too. No, I mean, it's Pap, but like he said that like this past week where he was like, he asked for a trade in spring training. I mean,
he also
I will say
tweeted
this
out when the deal went down that Devers didn't get traded.
Yeah, he's like, nobody panic. This is not happening.
Yeah. What are all of you people talking about?
Yeah.
You jump to, you have the entire fiasco in the middle, and it's hard to really break it down into a certain date. But Rafael Devers starts working on the backfields. We're told over a 2 or 3 week span, he's going to debut at multiple points. Never actually ends up doing so. Cora eventually calls him out saying he has to play in games. Doesn't want him working on the backfields exclusively. That all leads up until March 26th, which feels crazy when you look back on it. They finally announce Alex Bregman as the third baseman of the Red Sox. Throughout that entire multi-week span, they continue to dance around it, despite Devers saying he's willing to do whatever it takes for the team. Despite us hearing that he was going to play third base at some point, never actually happens. It's also clarified that this isn't a Devers decision. They want him to learn the DH routine on March 28th, when we're told by Cora that Devers won't mix in at third base at all. Says he's the DH of the Boston Red Sox, tells a story about being at the WBC, and I can't remember the exact details of it, but why routine and mixing him in with Bregman wouldn't make a ton of sense. Since then, we've had Rob Bradford yesterday say that Devers was never told not to field in general. I still think in this case, it doesn't disprove this. It sounds like they just didn't have a reason for him to do it at that time. Didn't mean to stop taking grounders, but the way the roster was, they didn't feel like he'd be the first option to go if something went wrong. Going past that, Tristan Casas blows his knee out on May 2nd. On May 8th, Rafael Devers tells the Red Sox he doesn't want to play first base. Devers said he met with Craig Breslow, who asked him if he'd switch to first base. The DH said no. They had conversations with me, Devers said. I don't think for me personally, it's the best decision after they asked me to play a different position. I only had 2 months playing this position to all of a sudden have me try to play another position. So for my end, it doesn't seem like a good decision. It was after the Casas injury. They came to me and talked to me about it. I know I'm a ball player, but at the same time, they can't expect me to play every single position out there. In spring training, they talked to me and basically told me to put away my glove, and I wasn't going to play any other position but DH. John Henry flies out the following day. We hear that, everybody aired out how they felt. Breslow was not in the meeting. It was Henry, Alex Cora. It said the conversation between both sides will be ongoing, and that's what existed for the last month or so as Cora awkwardly danced around it whenever it was brought up. And Devers didn't meet with the media really besides, I believe, a walk-off home run against the Braves on May 18th, where he said it was in the past. It's done. It is what it is. Similar to what we heard right before he got traded. And that was the last time we really had a legit Rafael Devers, media back and forth on the subject.
Is that the whole picture?
Am I missing anything?
The June Lee story feels like a big one.
Obviously, the next stage. This was just up until the John Henry
the trade.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's go past it.
Then.
Yeah, let's go past it. Yeah, let's keep going. Trade happens, and so I think for me, here's where I'm at on all this, because I think it was yesterday morning or this morning. I can't remember. All my days are all fucked up now. I think it was yesterday morning. I had someone say, well, now you're flip-flopping. I was like, I am not flip-flopping because this is not so someone said, you need to make up your mind. Are you team Raffy or are you team Red Sox? Like Breslow, you team Breslow. It's like neither. I don't think that it has to be that. And it isn't that. If you're on the right side of things, you're not on either side of this. So for me, I echo the sentiments of the fans that are like, you're getting paid $300 million and the team is asking you to do something to help the team, then you should help the team. Okay. But to Raffy's point about why he's disgruntled, Coley.
It wouldn't have helped the team. Continue, Jared.
I think it would have helped the team if he played first base. If he goes out there for the Giants and he's a good first baseman, that would have helped the team.
To be fair, though, everyone around the organization has wanted to tell you that Devers could play first base if it came to it, whether it's media or whatever it may be, that he would pick it up because he's a third baseman and a third baseman can move over to first base. And I'm someone who's doubted that Devers would be a good first baseman, by the way. But everything coming out of there has been pumping it up like the transition wouldn't have been that much.
If Rafael Devers plays first base for the San Francisco Giants the rest of the way, and he's a -2 defensive run saved, like,
who cares?
That helps the team.
What if Toro's a positive 6?
Huh?
What if Toro's +6?
He doesn't hit like Rafael Devers.
No, but he hits better than whoever was going to DH.
Massa is perfectly healthy. Like, let's all acknowledge
has
this.
Not hit as well as Toro has over this month and a half.
For a full season, Massa would be a better hitter than
Massa
Abraham
has
Toro.
not had a full season. That's part of the issue.
He would be a better hitter if you gave them 110 games each. Who are you taking? Abraham Toro at the plate or Masataka Yoshida? Now you're just being crazy.
He has an 80 OPS plus coming into this season for his career and 365 games.
Like, what are we talking about? If a full season,
I mean, Trent Grissom was dog shit coming into this season. Look what he's doing. Like, no one expects seasons.
But that's a different player that we're talking about. We're talking about Abraham Toro, who has a big league track record, and we have Masataka Yoshida, who you're right, has not played a full season. But from what we know of him, when he does hit, it's head and shoulders better bat than fucking Abraham Toro.
Sure, but it's a no glove, and we know Devers.
He doesn't need one.
Sure, but you're not fact. It's a full picture. It's not just that unto itself. Otherwise, why sign Bregman?
Also, defensive metrics at first base aren't great anyway, because like you're not supposed to be ranging and shit like that. You're playing first base.
Sure,
like I can't look. I don't put it like if I look at defensive runs saved at third base, I'm not looking at it the same way that I would for a first baseman.
Of course, no shit. But if it's a positive, which is not a thing we've had because Casas was also bad at it, like that's huge for a team that's bad.
But he also wasn't hitting. Like you can't tell me.
No doubt.
The Red Sox
Toro has been better than Casas has all year. Like we upgraded at first.
So here's why nuance is important here, and why I'll add some context to it. If you're gonna tell me, and I had again, it's not a black and white issue here. It depends on who you ask, who you talk to. If you talk to one person that's in that clubhouse, they will tell you, or maybe they won't tell you, but they'll tell you good riddance. Like they'll be like, like if you didn't want to be here, then fine. Like we don't want you here, and we're better off without you. But I also came to find that there were people in there that weren't happy that he got traded because they were like, hey, what does this mean? And maybe that was addressed because I guess Craig Breslow individually talked to everyone in the clubhouse and they had those questions.
He had
like,
office hours.
What does that mean for us? Like, what is like, is this waving the white flag? Like, what's the plan here? Like questions like that. But I think in the moment
did a 182 because it was originally announced like no one gave a fuck. And it was just like they all went back to sleep. And then today it came out like not a lot. Probably like half the team had questions for Craig up to what you were saying.
Yeah.
So every story has flipped.
I can't put a percentage on it. All I can tell you is that there are people in the room that were saying, good riddance. We're better off because you're not here. If you don't want to be here, then we don't want you here. And then there were also people saying, well, what the fuck? You just traded our best hitter. Like we just grinded to get back to a winning record and we just lost our best hitter. What the fuck? So
which
it wasn't
right in line with Chris Cotillo's reporting over the last month that there's certain guys in there giving him a weird look. And there's other guys that are looking at the organization saying, why'd you fuck around with this guy like this? That's been the reporting around it. So like weirdness overall, but people on both sides of the conversation. I think the other thing is realize how young the roster is and how many guys are in a position to complain about the front office or question the front office or anything along those lines. Everyone immediately want to be like, well, remember when Christian Vasquez got traded? You had Xander Bogaerts, who the closest thing
up with them.
Yeah, the closest thing you have in the organization to someone of that stature was Rafael Devers, who had been long tenured, who came up, was a homegrown player. 95% of the guys on this roster are not qualified to question the front office or speak on the front office because they're trying to keep a job or stay on the team or be a big leaguer, or they're a bad week away from getting sent down to the minors.
Right. Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of nuance to the age of the roster, and that's been annoying. And it has been bandied about, like the entire locker room was like, thank fucking Christ. And that just isn't true. It's just not true.
No, Brian Bayo spoke today about how good of friends they were on postgame. And that was a whole thing as well.
One thing missing from your timeline was Devers taking grounders at short, which did piss people off.
Yes.
Piss people off tremendously. But before that, and part of the June Lee thing that I called out as bullshit immediately, because it just doesn't seem like a thing Raffy would do, be pissed at Christian Campbell. At most, be like you're a teacher's pet dude, but not be like, hey, I'm going to stuff you in the locker and tell you to go fuck yourself. But it does feel like the Red Sox did do that to piss off Devers, because there's no real proof I can point to that you're muted, T. There's
I was talking to my mom. I'm sorry.
Oh, gotcha.
Bring me medication.
I just saw your mouth moving, but there's no real proof that they had any real intent to play Campbell at first. Like, it does seem like it was a bit of a dog and pony show, which would line up with the Roman Anthony dog and pony show.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah, I disagree with that as well.
You don't have to agree. That's how I'm looking at it, though. Why else would they tell him to stop? Why would they tell him to put his glove down?
Was hitting, and they were so desperate for any form of production. I was just told
Toro sucks. Now this is a long-term plan, right?
Though, that's not what happened there. Like, all right, so here's what happened. Like, why, if you're going to try and stick it to Raffy, why is Christian Campbell doing fucking hand glove work before every game for like 3 weeks straight just to send a message to Raffy? So like that doesn't make any sense. We were told that like, hey, he's going to play first base this weekend in Atlanta when they had that series in Atlanta, and that he didn't play, but it's because Abraham Toro was doing great. So it's like, well, we're going to ride the hot hand here. And then when Romy comes back, we have a great platoon between Toro and Romy at first base. So this is kind of what I was saying. After the Raffy trade, it's like, all right, like you get John Heyman saying, well, they're going to make a play for a bat. Where the fuck are you going to put a bat? It's like whatever guy that you're going to, I guess, quote unquote, trade for to play first base. If that guy is an everyday player, the production that you get from that one singular player that's your new first baseman, is that better overall production than you would get from a Toro Romy platoon? I don't know that that's the case, because the last time we needed a fucking fill in first baseman, we got Garrett Cooper, and he sucks. Like, it's just, I don't know that you're finding that stopgap first baseman to just play the rest of the year for you.
Isn't that the exact argument for Devers and Yoshida, though?
No, because those guys are better. Like, you had those guys internally. I'm talking like externally.
I know you have them internally, but it's largely the same thing.
No. You're not getting a Raffy from outside the organization. Like,
I know you already had him, but that's my point. Like, you had him producing at DH. You have Toro and Romy coming back. Why try and, like, obviously we're fine keeping Yoshida down for however long they needed to. So I don't know why all of a sudden it became such an issue that, no, you got to get him up. If the argument is we can't, because the Christian Campbell thing wasn't supposed to be a Band-Aid. It was like, hey, maybe this is his long-term position. You wouldn't just abandon because he was so awful at second.
Well, it was also the
that's
pathway.
Fine. Then, that's even more of a reason. Why did they stop it?
Because at that time, the pathway was partially as well to get Marcelo Meyer to play second base for you. That time, Trevor Story's giving you absolutely nothing. He's in the middle of, the worst stretch of his career. And then you factor in the Bregman injury. And then all of a sudden it was like, all right, well, now Meyer no longer needs to go to second base. We can put Meyer at third base. Abraham Toro's hitting. Romy Gonzalez is coming back. Oh, and Christian Campbell's still at second base. We're no longer in this way where we're trying to force Marcelo Meyer into the lineup because Bregman got hurt, and that's where he's going to plug.
But even that falls apart, by the way, because since Devers has been traded, he's DH'd and played center. He hasn't even played second since he got traded. Campbell.
What? Yeah. Campbell's played
DH'd and played center, right? He hasn't played second since he got traded.
It's been 2 games. Yeah, he DH'd the first game.
Played 3. Yeah, that's, I mean, again, like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't so wait, what do you mean? What's the correlation between that and
immediately stopped playing second? Like, immediately. The second Devers left, he stopped playing second. They didn't need to do that. They absolutely didn't need to do that.
No, I think that's them taking advantage of this DH spot. And now with Wilyer Abreu coming back in the current outfield situation, you'll start to see him factor back in at second base. I also think we saw in the
Maybe.
last 2 weeks or really 10 days or so, Campbell's defense has become a concern for them in a lot of ways where David Hamilton's coming in the 7th inning regularly to fill in that role. So this was a way to get him his bats and his spots and continue to create those opportunities while the roster's set the way it is.
But that's that to me is a huge issue that they are not still looking long term at the development of. I can't really point to any of their young players that they have the long term focus even there.
This is a very, I guess, underlying talking point, but the fact that they were pushing for Bryce Eldridge, like a big first base prospect, and they that tells you what they think of Tristan Casas. Like they're doing everything they can to have a team. What?
Breslow let it slip during the press conference. He goes, figuring out a long-term solution at first base. It's a long road for Tristan Casas. We'll see where we're at.
Yeah, but they're already like, I cannot wait to move on from Tristan Casas. Like they've been trying to move on for him for over a year now.
Like,
but to Coley's point, though, where you start looking at the Christian Campbell thing, it should probably become a topic of conversation again, because when Bregman comes back, Trevor Story's at shortstop. He's under contract for a couple of years. At second base, you're going to have to move Marcelo there, or say you flip him in Story, whatever the fuck you want to do. Yeah, however you want to frame it. Where's Christian Campbell at that point in time? The first base conversation comes back up, but it's also why when you look at when the Bregman injury happened and all that, why it shifted. And they let it play out a little longer after the Bregman injury. I think that's a fair criticism, but that's where the Romy return really clicks back when they started to face the Angels.
Sure, but it's not, hey, we're going to
It's the lack of a plan.
Right. It's like, hey, we're still trying this out. Luckily, we have Romy. Maybe, because I had even said before they stopped it, I was going to say send him down to Worcester so he's playing first there, not the big league level. That would be a long-term outlook. That, it very much feels like that was a fuck you to Devers. Like, hey, we just got this guy to sign a 9-figure deal. Look at him out there doing whatever we say. Like, that's how I'm reading that now. And then, like, it's hard for me to be convinced otherwise.
Yeah, I'm not going to say you're wrong for feeling that way. I think part of it was, did they get something out of going and asking Christian Campbell and being like, look, he's going to do it? Yeah, I think there was a little bit of that. I also think they were drowning and they were looking for anything offensively to get by and any ways to make the roster work. And I think that was their next best solution. I think that's what they had come to.
Hold that thought, T, for 1 second, because Blue Moon was born in a ballpark at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado, so it's no wonder why you crave it. Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect year-round. And for the moments that you want a lighter option of your favorite beer, reach for Blue Moon Light. It's a refreshing wheat beer brewed with real tangerine peel for a lighter exceptional taste at only 95 calories. And boy, oh boy, did I love drinking some Blue Moons on the flight. The flight that got delayed twice. Had some sky moons, as I like to call them, just cruising through the altitude, carving up the clouds with a nice Blue Moon Light in my hand, sucking that thing down in first class, because it is a first class beer, and you already knew that because it's inspired by the beer you already love. And it's available year-round, a wheat beer from Blue Moon with exceptional taste and only 95 calories. Brightly brewed with real tangerine peel, tastes light and refreshing. Nothing compares to the great taste of a Blue Moon Light. Blue Moon made brighter. Get Blue Moon Light delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared for delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Suck one.
T, correct me if I'm wrong. The report, the June Lee article, did he cite multiple sources told him about Raffy getting pissed that he was volunteering to play? So the other clarification here, I think Cora said he didn't volunteer. We asked him, right?
Yes, he clarified
Campbell,
that.
yes.
So the Red Sox asked Campbell. Campbell did not volunteer himself.
Correct.
So why would Raffy get pissed at Campbell for being asked to play first base, and he's saying, yeah, sure?
He wouldn't.
So if it's multiple sources, then like, what are we talking? Like, what's going on here?
Oh, yeah. According to multiple sources, Devers was also upset when the rookie Campbell volunteered to play first base this season, interpreting it as a slight to his own stature.
When I first read that, I read that as he was pissed at the Red Sox for going to like kind of the low man on the totem pole and showing, like, trying to flex, be like, look, we can get this guy to do it. Why can't we get you?
I also think it's important to look at the article, it is a front office sourced article. And yeah, they're shitting on things in the front office, but that is where the perspective is coming from. It's from the side that was upset with Rafael Devers and felt like for whatever reason they had to ship the player to San Francisco. So like there is a little bit of that sourcing that you're doing here as well. And I also have seen a lot of people tweet out that MLB Scoop page had the exact same report word for word, 24 hours before that, whatever it may be.
That's a source.
However you want to read into that, do it the way you want. There's a lot of people that look at that and are taken away from June's reporting, but it is something to acknowledge in the timeline of things here.
People got furious at me because I said it was fair and balanced. I wasn't saying it was like the greatest reporting ever done. I was saying it was kind of taking shots at both sides. Like it like what T just said. Yeah, it came from front office, but he has been shitting on the Red Sox front office the whole time. So it was like, hey,
it made everybody look bad. No one came out of that looking good.
Yeah, that's what I meant by fair and balanced.
Yeah. The one thing that I did want to add clarification to was when I came out last podcast, fucking guns blazing, rip shit. At the time, I was under the impression that everyone in that room was like, what the fuck? Like, why did you trade our best hitter? Because after the drama was coming out, like I remember, I think Duran might have had like a post game like walk-off interview and he was like, Raffy's our guy and like blah, blah, blah. And it was like, rah, rah. And then he got traded. And then like, you start hearing like, we move on. Like, he was just like Duran was saying it publicly. He's just one guy, we got to keep moving. I thought that there would be more like, hello, like we just got back in the race and you just traded our best. I thought that there would be more internal anger and there wasn't. So I was like, okay, did I overreact? Like I was trying to be angry for the room. If I was on the team, I would be pissed at that trade. That's how I would feel. I can't generalize the entire room because at the end of the day, I think we know now that there are mixed opinions. It's not a universal blanket opinion in the room that people were like, fuck him, see you later. And it wasn't that. Like there were some people that might have felt that way. And then there's other people that, they're like, I'm pissed that he's gone. So I just thought it would be more universal. Why did you do this to us when we just fought back to get to this spot? I thought it was more of a personal vendetta between Breslow and Raffy. It doesn't appear that that's the whole truth. Like this had to have come from above that because if you are John Henry, people are like, well, it's nothing more than a salary dump. You're right. Like it's partly that. Like you did salary dump. Like if you found a team to take on that entire contract, I've heard Passan go on multiple shows and say, the Red Sox were, I'm paraphrasing, the Red Sox were kind of lucky to find a team that would take on that entire contract. Well, I'm not in the business of saving John Henry money. I'm in the business of winning baseball games. I'm in the business of playoff spots and World Series titles. I don't give a fuck if they had to pay the whole thing to get if you feel like he had to be removed from the room to be better off, okay, like that's your assessment and you acted on it and you had conviction with it. We'll see how it plays out. Like no one right here knows that this is going to play out in a positive way or not, but I don't care that because unless they do something with that money, and Coley's made the point about the upcoming free agent class, they're not signing Kyle Tucker. Like what are they going to do with that money? If they don't extend Roman Anthony within the next calendar year, then what the fuck do I care if they save $300 million or not?
Right. Like the extending of Roman Anthony and the re-signing of Alex Bregman, by the way, like those were things we were already kind of banking on with Devers in tow. Like that wasn't a hurdle. So if that's all they do, that's not nearly enough. Like those guys are already here. They signing Alex Bregman to a long-term deal. However, whatever their model says suffices is a prerequisite now, because if you lose him, you're going to lose a big chunk of the fan base. And he's played 50 games here?
No, you essentially chose him as a culture pick, and I think they said that when they put Roman Anthony between him and Jarren Duran. And listen, you can have whatever opinions you want. Obviously, Duran on the right side there. But they've built everything around Bregman in terms of who the big three are spending time with. You can't go more than 3 days without someone telling you a story of Marcelo Meyer being with him or Roman Anthony every time you go to the dugout and they're sitting there together. It does feel like they've created a very awkward position here where, in order to have a kind of a veteran and an anchor in this lineup you can lean on in the coming years, Alex Bregman seems like the most straightforward pathway because of what is on the free agent market. But once again, you're going back to where you were an offseason ago, where Breslow had no interest in handing out a contract that was, call it 180 to 200 million over a 6 or 7 year deal. Now you're all of a sudden going to change that due to how things played out with Rafael Devers here. That is a very back and forth way for a front office to run it. It once again shows a lack of consistency.
Well, like you talk about the timeline, the cleanest view, and this isn't fair to Bregman, but they signed him and it immediately was the thing that got Devers out of here.
That's it.
Like,
and that's the root.
If they just didn't sign Bregman, and I'm happy he's here, like watching both of them hit back to back was sick for 60 games. Unbelievable. They picked him. Like they that was the thing that pissed off Devers completely. And now they've handed him, by the way, 100% of the leverage. He knows how badly the Red Sox need him. He knows the Tigers would be happy to pay for him if he were to hit free agency again. Like if that's, and I end up like whether or not he wants to go there is different. He didn't last offseason, so what does that tell you? But like the Red Sox need to re-sign him now. Otherwise, I don't know. But you talk about like the room being conflicted. I think individuals were conflicted because one thing I've said all year, with all these prospects coming up, people were playing like they were looking over their shoulders. Even if someone's like, hey, fuck, I miss Rafael Devers, the 905 OPS bat hitting second. I'm a little happy the roster spot opened up, so I have a longer leash. Like, I'm not going to lose my playing time. I'm not going to get benched. I'm not going to get sent down if I'm a younger guy. Like, I'm sure there's internal conflict amongst individuals, too, because I've heard Rafael Devers get called selfish so much. Yeah, everyone's selfish. That's part of it. You think these people got here just because they were great teammates, like in Little League? No, it was because they're the best player in the fucking state and country that they were coming out of. Yeah, you selfish. The DH was selfish. What does that even mean, Jared? What does the DH was selfish mean? All he does is hit. Of course he's selfish.
Well, it was also selfish. Like, at the end of the day, the Red Sox acted for what they wanted. They didn't act with the best interest of Rafael Devers. They had told him they were going to speak to him about the issue. Not only did they not speak to him, they lied to him on multiple occasions. That's what they did. You can argue it whatever way you want. Then you go back to the decision in spring training. We get the article, and I should have included this on the timeline. You know, I want to say it was right around the 12th or 10th, right before spring training really got going, that Christian Campbell was going to have every opportunity to try and make the opening day roster. If you would put Bregman at third base and Alex Bregman at second, and Christian Campbell started the year down at AAA, and listen, there were plenty of people on both sides of this argument, that was another pathway where you could have avoided this entire situation.
For sure.
I think a lot of people...
That was also another lie. Like, that was also another lie.
Yeah, he was already on the team. He didn't perform all spring.
He did not have a good spring, and I was pushing. I wanted Campbell up. Like, I'm not trying to... I still want him up. I don't want him to get sent down now, but that was, like, crazy that they even floated that.
And Devers was down there with them. They
lied because they said he's going to have every opportunity to make the team, when I'm sure when they said that, the contract extension was already agreed to, because that's why he made the team. He had a bad spring. Was he more talented than Roman Anthony? No. Did he have more time in the minors than Marcelo Meyer? No. It was just
the best spring. Yeah, Meyer had the best spring out of all three of them.
Correct. He made the team over Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer because he was the guy that was willing to sign the extension, and that's how he got on the opening day roster. That's not a slight on Christian Campbell.
That's most of it.
That's all of it.
Good.
That's all of it.
I mean, he
is good. He did not perform better than the other two.
Not in spring. Last year,
they wanted a right-handed bat. That was a big part of it too, I think.
Yes.
Also,
Christian Campbell was a lefty.
But that contract was absolutely agreed to during spring, and like they announced it on that first official day, where it's like, now, you know, whatever the deadline was.
PPI pick.
Like it was all very tactical by the Red Sox, and all very it was performed with intent. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Like, he was going to get here anyway, you know. It's just a matter, he got here first, and it's not a bad thing. It's just an example of how the Red Sox will tell us one thing, but what's going on is something entirely different.
Which is why I don't believe him playing first was in earnest, because they keep lying. Like, they have a history of, they need to prove that they're not liars. And I don't think they ever will. Like, it's something that's just part of the experience. You got to sift through a lot of shit. So when everyone's called me a conspiracy theorist, it's like, how many times do I have to point to them lying? Why do you still believe them? It's like watching like a emotionally abused like girlfriend. No, it's okay. I believe him this time. Why? Like, just why? Like, do I always have the players back when they're going against the front office? Yeah, I do, because the players continue to be correct.
So there's some points where you have to believe. There's some points where they have to lie. You know, like if they're gonna hold down Roman Anthony because they want the extra year of control, you can't openly say that. They're gonna have to lie about that. But then there's other stuff where they just blatantly lie and they didn't have to.
Bregman's going to play second base this spring. We're going to get him reps there. Devers at some point. It was a lie. That was not the plan. We all know you wanted Christian Campbell at second, Bregman at third, and Devers at DH, which is why when you go back and you have these conversations, hell, you have Cora in fucking 4K, man, saying that he believes Alex Bregman's a Gold Glove second baseman on the Red Sox station. Like, there was no reason you had to say that. No one forced you. And the fact that the player was behind the scenes saying, can you just tell me the truth? Is this what this is going to be? And you said, no, it's bullshit. When you knew, follow the reporting, you knew post Soto, it was Bregman or Arenado. That's where it is. I think when you want to talk Raffy and having a problem, it really starts with the post Tristan Casas stuff. And I think that stuff's more than fair. And there's plenty of blame you can have there. And that's a nuanced conversation as a whole. But wondering why he was angry and reacted the way he did, it's not very complicated. The Red Sox lied to him. They were not forward with him. And that's not how you treat a franchise star. And you can talk about Pedro and Manny and this little back and forth everyone has going on right now. Listen, David Ortiz and Rafael Devers, for years, David Ortiz has bitched that Rafael Devers didn't care to go up to him and do it and have all these back and forths. David Ortiz is a team employee. No matter what you do, if you're at a job and you know he talks to the big bosses, you are going to feel somewhat uncomfortable opening up to that guy or talking about certain things because he gets a check from the team. He works for the Boston Red Sox. That's not to say David Ortiz has bad intentions or anything like that, but there's also a reason you have Pedro Martinez going and saying, hey, all these people trying to tell you Rafael Devers is a shitty person, he's a bad teammate, that's bullshit. Like, you guys, he's going out the door right now and people are trying to hit him with all this different stuff. And it's because, and Coley texted me this yesterday, framed it perfectly. A lot of people showed up to this story in the last chapter. They have not been there during the offseason because if you listen to this podcast, me and Coley have been consistent since day one about the problems that were going to come out with the way you were communicating over the offseason, the messages that were coming out from Devers camp. This shit didn't just happen. He didn't just throw a fit. He was down in spring training for essentially a month asking these questions and you still didn't tell him the truth. Like, he was down there with you. He got to camp early to work on these things and you still weren't upfront with him. Instead, when he came back from his, birthday with his daughter or whatever, then you dropped it on him and he sits there and says, you told me the rumors alone were bullshit, but you also went to the media and said Bregman was going to play second base and you're telling the public he's going to play second base, but you're telling me right now behind the doors that I'm at DH. It's like, there's no consistency to your you have to be upfront with your player. You have to be honest with him. And that's why Buster only put out a great piece talking about blame. And there was plenty for Breslow and there was more shit in there about his communication issues, which are very real and very prevalent. It was a lot of blame for Alex Cora as well. And I think he deserves a fair ton of blame in here for a guy whose biggest selling point is his relationship with players. He has seemed like almost no help in this entire process or nothing of an in-between. Even if you were kind of going against Breslow to make sure that Devers and you were on the same page, that would have been something. That feels like that hasn't even existed here. And the fact that he wasn't able to get that player to buy in, good organizations get a player like that to buy in. A manager like that truly has his pulse on everything can sell him on what's going on here. And that never happened. I think there's a lot of blame to go around. Everybody has some of it, but there's a lot of adults in this situation that didn't act like adults. And that's just the truth of it.
No, the lack of adults is very, very apparent. But the point I've seen that I think I have the most problem with is like, he's a $300 million player. He should just do what he's told. That goes both ways, because if you think there's a decision that Cashman, like, do you think Brian Cashman wanted Alex Verdugo? Is that a thing you think? Brian Cashman's not an idiot. Aaron Judge wanted Alex Verdugo because he wanted a contact hitter to hit in front of him so he could rack up RBIs. That's how you treat your franchise player. Like, if he's the franchise player who has to bend over backwards during every ascent, he's also the guy you are upfront with. And Castillo had it in his lead. When the Giants asked him to play first, he was like, I'll throw 9 shut for Skip, for Melvy. Yeah, I'll do anything. I'll die for manage. And what Castillo said, it's not about the ask, it's how you ask it. Mm-hmm. And they treated him like he was going to explode if they did it. And that, in any aspect of life, if that's how you handle information to tell somebody, like, who doesn't want you to be direct? It's not being an asshole. It's just like, hey, Raffy, like, you have these end of season meetings. If in those meetings they were just like, hey, by the way, if you're our third baseman next year, you'll be our third baseman. Like, if we don't go out and get one, but you, as much as everyone know, we need more juice on this team. We need to be better overall. Alex Bregman's a free agent. We may sign him. If we sign him, you're coming off third because he's the reigning Gold Glove winner and just overall better than you. Okay, I think he would have been like, hey, I'd rather play third, but I'd rather have his bat here. And even if he got mad, it's gone by January as opposed to starting in March.
And bare minimum, you operated with respect and you brought it to him. At that point, right, people would just say, oh, that's Devers. He's a crybaby. He's doing what it is. And you got to remember, like, a lot of people, like you said, want to mention like the money thing. Rafael Devers got that money because he was one of the generational players, young players in this league that did that. You look at where David Ortiz was at the same age. David Ortiz had made over $1 million in a season twice. Rafael Devers is a point where he has money. He has the guaranteed money. When you get the contract, guess what? It's about principle. It's about stuff like that. It's not about eating your words because you need the check at that point in time. Rafael Devers doesn't need the check. You know why? Because there's another fucking organization that just sent 4 players here and ate the contract because that's how talented of a player you are. That's how much they think of you.
They said 3 players. Jordan Hicks was a contract dump by
But just
I'm
in terms
okay
of
with
value.
Jordan Hicks, but that was why he was involved.
Of course.
They weren't like, oh man. Although Passan was like, they got Jordan Hicks.
Yeah,
get the fuck out of here.
Late inning reliever. But that's the kind of thing here when you look at it and you talk those pieces. If the contract was so underwater and they ate all that money, you don't get anything back. The fact that you got something tells you in a world where Vlad Guerrero gets $500 million. Keep in mind, Devers, 3 out of the last 4 seasons has a higher OPS plus than Vlad Guerrero Jr. And Vlad Guerrero Jr. pretends to play first base. He sucks at it. Juan Soto is going to be a DH sooner than later. He's making $800 million. I'll take Rafael Devers $29 million a year for what he's going to do, where he has a friggin' top 5 OPS in the entire sport since April 1st. Like, give me the Rafael Devers contract. I'm more than comfortable with it.
I don't even bring up the pending free agents to be like, who are the Red Sox going to sign? It's when you look at trading Rafael Devers, if that's the decision you've made as an organization for whatever reason, literally whatever reason, it's well within your right to try and build the best team. If you think using Devers' money elsewhere is the smart play, fine. I don't necessarily agree, but fine. There are no free agents coming up. Like, you're going to have to overpay worse players around his contract to get him to play to your team. Yeah, you don't have to. If you trade him today, only the Giants were like, we'll take that money right now. We would love to sign anyone to more money than this. So this actually saves us money. In the offseason, after someone misses out on literally any of the big bats, Devers is the next guy. Like, that's a much different conversation in December than it is in June. It's a much different conversation a month from now at the deadline than it is right now. It's crazy that's I think the part that upsets me is they've made this trade and only Justin Willard has tried to sell me on Kyle Harrison. No one involved with the Red Sox, and Bailey spoke with him today. This was definitely Bailey's decision because he's worked with these guys. So this
superstar.
That's
a fucking crazy thing to drop on a guy like that.
He has the pedigree.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying any of that's not true, even though right now he has one pitch that did not get mashed in the big leagues this year. Very good fastball. But yeah, no, Andrew Bailey, man, seeing the way he lit up when he talked about Kyle Harrison, they all came together. But we also have reporting now, and that's where the timeline conversations get annoying. Whether you want to go to the West Coast, and I have the article right here. I want to make sure I put out the author's name. Alex Palvalok, who's been on top of all this stuff over there. He has it in his article that it's believed the Red Sox could have got a bigger return if they waited things out. Alex Spear also had it in his column as well. That there's people in the industry. Some members of the industry have wondered whether the Sox got the best return possible and if they could have gotten more teams involved in pursuing Devers by waiting until the deadline or offseason to make a deal. I thought Sox Prospects brought up a good point talking about how few teams could actually get in on this, but that's because of the money you wanted off the books. And I think that's what this deal comes down to in so many ways, is that They were looking for a way to get the contract off the books. Craig Breslow told you when he got here that he wanted a rotational DH. That's how he viewed the position. You throw in everything that has happened with Devers over the last 6 or 7 months or so. They have a logjam that needs to be figured out by Friday, and still one that is not the easiest to figure out overall. It was all these factors coming together, including probably John Henry when they had that meeting in KC saying, feel free to make some calls, because they said they started right around the time after that meeting that week. So I think when you throw in all those factors, that's why they made the decision in that point. But that's where people are going to get upset about the return and question, like, did you not get the most out of this situation when you're trading away a guy who is one of the best hitters in the sport that will impact your chances at making, a run this year? Because you just went, 9 for 89 or whatever it was in this series. I don't care what you say, and it's nice that they're winning. There's no way you say they're a better team without Rafael Devers, even though Craig Breslow gets in his press conference and says that.
Oh, boy.
Cook. Jared.
I didn't tweet this. I really wanted to, though. Breslow in his press conference absolutely addressed the podcast clip, right?
Oh, yeah. It was like word for word, essentially.
Like me, I was like, you cannot fucking tell me that you're a better team today than you were yesterday. And in the press conference, he's like, I can't tell you that we're a better team today than we were yesterday or anything like that. I think he is probably sitting there after that deal, head spinning, reacting, or just consuming all the reaction to it, trying to find some sort of validation out there that I don't think is coming. The only way that this will be validated is if they continue to win and then they get in the playoffs and then they go on a little bit of a run there. But even still, I think a lot of us, depending on what that second move is, I think we can't give our full opinions until we know, we can close the book after the trade deadline. Once we know this is the team that's going for it in August and September, then we can kind of have a different conversation about it. But as of right now, I think if this is it, let's just say worst case scenario, they don't add another bat that's going to be helping out this lineup. They can still make the playoffs, and we'll still be sitting here thinking man, what damage would they do if they had Raffy in this lineup too?
It's going to be like that next year and the year after that. During these prime Rafael Devers years, when you see him tearing it up in San Francisco, that's what it's going to go to. They're playing for long-term value here, which is once again another reason when you don't get anyone on the roster, day one, that's going to help you. And we'll see what Jordan Hicks can give you. They like him as a late inning arm. We see that. But there was no player of that quality coming back to boost you in this season. You're playing forward to hope these guys help you in 6, 7, 8 after that, which goes against your messaging at the beginning of the year and how you viewed this year. And that's why fans are going to sit here and say, I don't understand how this aligns with what you guys were selling to us at the beginning of the season. And they can say, well, hey, the situation became, something we had to deal with. They said there was nothing that happened recently that pushed them over the edge. Hell, it couldn't have been that bad if you just won 5 games in a row. I'm sorry. That's just what it is.
I mean, the whole, and I'm glad Pedro said something, because I tweeted out the live long enough to see yourself become a villain thing about Ortiz. I love David Ortiz. We all love David Ortiz. If he's going to tell me he was some model fucking citizen as a member of the Red Sox and just piss on my head and tell me it's raining, pal. What are you talking about, dude? That's not how you acted. And I was on his side then too. It's not like I was against him then. Yeah, he should have been paid more than 1 year at a time for his services. He shouldn't have been pinch hit for in the middle of his career because they thought it was the end. Oh yeah, they fucked that up too. And it was a lot of the same people. It was just not the same main guy. So I can't have that. Pedro saying that, yeah, if that was Devers disgruntled, did I want to see him happy? He's going to start the All-Star game. He was the best in the league at doing what he does.
Shout out Ryan O'Hearn.
Yeah, he's
pumped.
But that's the issue with David. And when you start comparing their situations, you just can't. David, you had an incredible career. You reach heights, that are very fair to say Rafael Devers won't. But what Rafael Devers did from age 20 to get to that contract, you had barely established your career at the point where Raffy got paid. That's just the truth. So Raffy's in a whole different world than you were. He wasn't in a position where he had to work out and, get bitched around by a team because he didn't have the money. This team showed up because they fucked up in years prior and threw that money on the table. That gave him the leverage. That lets Rafael Devers act the way he did. And you can say, well, I don't like that and I'm not a fan of that. Cool. No one had an issue with Rafael Devers on a serious level until this year. That's what that is. Everyone over the offseason, and these are the same people calling him a cancer now, wanted to say, Raffy's a big child. He won't care. He'll play wherever you put him. That's all people wanted to say. But now you're telling me he's this cancer or whatever it is. No, he got fucked around. Now you can say the promise Chaim Bloom made to him, holding on to that was stupid. Cool. It's still something Craig Breslow and Alex Cora should have accounted for. Alex Cora wants to act like he was never involved in any meeting with Chaim Bloom, like Chaim Bloom never spoke to him. Alex Cora, you realize you were here during the Chaim Bloom era. Not everything is Chaim Bloom's fault. But once again, we do see a consistent theme of where blame goes anywhere but Alex Cora. That's not, you take blame for some of this too. You were here. You knew the promises were made. Work in the middle. You play the game. You're supposed to be that manager. You can be the bridge between a Breslow and a Devers. Unfortunately, I think Devers came into the year and said, you were part of the fucking game they were playing. We figured it out over spring training. We were able to get on the same page. And they were so scared of that relationship blowing up during the season that Craig Breslow had to be the bad cop more often than not in the situation. But it just goes back to your mishandling over the offseason. You play your cards right there. Maybe it's different. And I didn't appreciate Craig Breslow, who wanted to act like, during the press conference, I've reflected on this. I think about it. Like, I'm going to learn from this. Every fucking time he said it, he goes, but even still, I have thought about if we did do it that way, we probably could end up here or still be here. That's not accountability. That's not accountability for what you fucked up, and a consistent theme throughout your entire process here of communication issues, which go to the June Lee piece or the ESPN piece or wherever. That's something he has to deal with and live with right now, is that he's a poor communicator. That's just part of his legacy here.
Yeah, I mean, they all are. I think their model said, hey, we've never paid DH this much. And then if Raffy said he'd play first permanently, that probably doesn't value a first baseman at that number either. And I think they were just like, it doesn't really matter what you do. We're getting rid of this money.
Yeah. And whether
it's a way to operate. Like I'm more okay with that than being like, you got to get this malcontent out of here. Like a malcontent is someone who's just not producing, who's actively up there, just like standing straight up, bat on his shoulders, taking pitches. Like this wasn't even like a Chris Davis Baltimore situation where the guy just sucked when you were paying him a bunch of money. Like, no, he was unbelievable. I don't know that he needed to be like everyone's best friend or friends with the manager. Like, I don't know. Part of the timeline
I've been told that it was not like the player. There was no issue with him in the players. Like This feels like front office across the
big time. Oh, I think if Raffy didn't castrate Breslow publicly, he's still here.
I agree. I think that factored into this.
I think that's because T has it about, or Posey was like, we've been talking for like 3-4 weeks. Me and Breslow have been handling it the last week or so.
Talking to Brian O'Halloran, who's still fucking hanging around here.
Why? What's the shot at BOA?
Brian O'Halloran, who was supposed to be an aide to Chaim Bloom, and such an aide he couldn't get him under the fucking luxury tax in 2022. What the fuck were you doing when you got named GM here, Brian O'Halloran? What else were you here for besides to make sure a mistake like that didn't happen?
Two things real quick. The part of the timeline, someone did bring up the Chaim Bloom thing about he'll always be a third baseman, and of course, so that guy's not here anymore. Like that was very
Alex,
telling.
you are
right, and that's where I think he was still like, hey, I'm going to take this guy down too. What was the other thing in the June leap? Oh, the fucking stiff comment that I can't believe that became public.
That's a bar.
Because
that's a
so
bar.
good.
Jerry sent that to us in the scoop shop, and I'm not questioning Jared as a source, but I know some people just like to talk shit, especially when things happen. I remember after Chaim got canned, a lot of people were walking around with their dicks on the table like they were about to reinvent baseball as a whole, and that still hasn't happened. And those people still work there. But the fucking stiff comment becoming like a real thing that we get to talk about is so funny. Like to me, and this is the difference between Posey, former baseball player, and Craig Breslow, former baseball player. If someone called Buster Posey a fucking stiff, I don't think he'd fire that guy. I think he would roast the shit out of him.
Challenge him.
Or beat the fuck out of him. Or something baseball. You know what I mean? Something. Baseball players are always talking shit against each other. That's what they do. Friends, good friends. So if someone working with you calls you a stiff, either boom, roast them, or like challenge him to a fight. Firing him is the most like nerd shit ever.
Well, you know what? You're fired then.
Yeah, exactly. But keep the Zoom quiet and then call him into the principal's office for a spanking after that. Like he definitely didn't he not even on the spot was he just like, you know what, pack your shit, pal. Like that's definitely not what happened.
Yeah. Like if you just happen to like overhear someone talking shit about you and they didn't know that you were listening and like you could hear the whole thing, you gotta just give it back to them. You know, like you don't fire them. You let them know, oh, I heard what you were saying. You didn't know that I was listening. And then you call them out. You can embarrass them in front of everyone. That's what you can do.
Well, and it's also,
would you do that?
Me?
Jared. It's also, and I don't know if Jared, correct me if I'm saying his name wrong. Carl Moshe
Never.
Or Moshe, whatever.
I don't know this guy.
Moshe.
But he's the scouting supervisor here. Sportsology, when they came in, this was a major thing with Baseball America. They made the point about the Red Sox letting go a lot of longtime scouts and instructors. And they did a survey with, I believe it was 26 scouts. And the Red Sox, when they were asked which organizations are the most scout friendly, the Red Sox got 0 votes. They were in last place with the Cubs, Guardians, Mets, Orioles, and Red Sox. So this is a guy who's a scout supervisor. You wonder why there may be tensions or things are weird. You just did an audit where you fired a lot of longtime scouts and guys who had been around here. Maybe that factors in here. It's understanding communication and the root of problems and dealing with things. And I think this is where a lot of people are looking at Craig Breslow, who the Red Sox, you go back to that offseason. In a perfect world, he's Justin Willard. He's doing their pitching infrastructure. But they weren't able to get the right people to interview for the job. They saw Breslow as a great young talent, and they were willing to accept some of the growing pains. Well, this was a guy who worked remotely with the Cubs. He was not in the front office every day. He was not communicating with people every day. And now we hear he's isolating himself, which is one of the reasons you fired Dave Dombrowski when he did that with Tony La Russa and Frank Wren. That was a major thing that he had started to pull away from the brain trust that had been here since the Theo era. Well, a lot of those same cooks are still in the kitchen. And seemingly, according to the June Lee report, he's pulling away from those guys and I don't know if he's gotten super close with Mike Grootman, who got a lot of hype this offseason for helping with certain deals. The Garrett Crochet deal, who Chaim Bloom hired and brought in. And he went from focusing on analytics to now helping with moves and trade decisions. I don't know. I'm curious to hear what this little group he's formed, but it sounds very similar to what Dave Dombrowski got canned for in a lot of ways.
What is it about this market and this team and this ballpark that makes the front office members just go mad?
Look up.
It's all just like a descent into madness when you get hired for that position by the Boston Red Sox. Happens of all of them. I would love to know what Chaim Bloom thinks of all this. Like, he
loves it.
Yeah, he's got to be like, it's fun, right? That job's super easy, right? Anyone. It was me. I was the problem, right?
We're talking here for Craig Breslow having a lack of feel when that was the biggest indictment of Chaim Bloom, was that he lacked feel as a guy who wasn't a former player, didn't understand how to work with the clubhouse or teams or a manager.
And you know what?
Craig Breslow doesn't have that.
You know what Chaim Bloom didn't get enough credit for is he cared about people. Whereas now we're talking Craig Breslow, former ball player. It's like, oh, well, he knows he's a former ball player, so he gets it. So, he knows what it's like to be in a clubhouse. So he's going to communicate with the players the way that players should be communicated with because he's coming from the player perspective. And boy, oh boy, you would think that it would be the exact opposite. Like Chaim, he cared about people. He was a good communicator. He had different knocks on him, of course. I think, when we get the more removed from the Chaim Bloom era, we're going to look back on it and be like, you know what, maybe this guy wasn't so bad. He had his flaws, no doubt. But I think where it's almost like the Chaim characteristics and the Breslow characteristics should be flip-flopped. Like you would think that the nerd who didn't play would be a horrible communicator that's only looking at the programs and the algorithms. And it's like, this is what the computer says. So trade Rafael Devers. You would think that the actual player who has been on a World Series champion would be like, I understand, but like a bat like this is generational. Maybe you don't want to allocate this amount of money to a first baseman or a full-time DH, but there is something to be said about the Boston Red Sox, the history, the lore, factor. A computer is not going to tell you, hey, we already fucked up the Mookie Betts thing, and I know Xander hasn't been good since he went to the Padres, but people were really pissed when we let him walk too. So we paid Raffy to be that one guy from that core that we could really hang on to, and he is a Hall of Fame caliber bat. So maybe the program says that this isn't a great contract and we should get out from under it, but the human element, factoring in the fans, and the fact that he is, like Coley said, he's on pace to be the starting DH at the All-Star game, should kind of override a lot of these things. If really all you're going on is the numbers and the algorithms and the programs, that it's like, again, you would expect that from someone like Chaim Bloom, just like the really smart guy who came from Tampa Bay and he didn't play. You would expect a former player who's also an Ivy League nerd to factor in all that stuff that we just discussed. And he's not, clearly not.
Belichick used to get killed the first decade for getting rid of a guy a year too soon. He would trade someone, they would be nasty for a year, and then he would be proven right. It took him doing that like 10, 15 times before people were finally like, all right, we'll give this guy a little bit of leash when he does
Belichick
something
we
like
trust.
this. We see the vision. But he also won multiple. And also, I don't think anyone thinks Rafael Devers is going to fall off in a year and a half. Is he going to be unbelievable when he's like 36? Probably not. Not many people are. Is he going to be unbelievable from now until he's like 34? Yeah, probably, especially when he does settle into DH. And I had no idea San Francisco would be easier for him to hit home runs per Statcast and everything, saying like, oh yeah, he would have hit 40 multiple times and doesn't really do that at Fenway Park. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he looked better for the Giants. I don't know. I don't see a way this trade, like the book closes. Go ahead, Jerry.
No, finish your thought.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't see a way that I'll be able to, like, because what you had said earlier, like we'll close the book at the All-Star break. I don't know that's, or the trade deadline, excuse me. I don't know if that's how I'm going to feel, because when I see one big trade for a bat happen, say Austin Riley or someone gets traded, I'm immediately going to compare that package to what we got for Devers. Like it's not just going to end that quickly.
And it's like, what damage did you do to your reputation with other players and trying to negotiate things? You've already had a situation with your minor league players where you jerked around a Roman Anthony this year in a very apparent way. And now you're showing you have these kind of issues with the biggest, most important player that was on your team. So like that stuff spreads. It's going to get passed along. It's going to have an impact in that way too. But I think when you talk Chaim Bloom, one of the reasons he was so good with people is because he spent so much time in a front office. That's what he did. He worked his way up from the bottom of a front office all the way to the top, because he wasn't a player that, got into a certain role and was elevated. Craig Breslow doesn't.
Hold on. T just texted us.
I don't know what that says.
So that's why I'm telling you to hold on. T just texted us something Alex Cora just posted. Go ahead.
There's like Red Sox pages that are like spreading information about Alex's family. That's what it says.
That's bad.
Okay.
That I could see the familia, but I didn't know if he meant like the Red Sox family or his family. So yeah, that's bad.
He's saying report and block them. They're like sharing information.
That's good. Like, well, it's good. People should go report and block that. But T just sent us. It's all in Spanish. None of it's in English.
Yeah.
And
well, that's why
T
he
just had people
to
tagging
us
me
with nothing, but with nothing else attached to it. Like, I was just sitting here trying to decipher it. Like, I don't know Spanish that well, T. You got
I took 7 years and I couldn't read it.
Well, I mean, that's why you have Jared from Saugus Domingo to translate for you. There's like a Facebook page they're like fake Facebook pages that are making shit up about like his family members dying.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They like faked his brother's death. And then another one was talking about his daughter. So
to be fair, there's been a lot of very weird behavior. I saw the TMZ article with Craig Breslow and like people leaking his address and posting it all over online. Like,
that's fucking crazy.
Crazy, bro. Crazy fucking behavior. Like, no matter whatever the hell's happening with a baseball team, like it's never that serious.
No, it's like I be upset about the trade all you want, but at the end of the day, it's baseball. Like, yeah, my enjoyment level this weekend was down, or week. It's not the weekend. My enjoyment level this series was down because they didn't score any runs, and Rafael Devers is good at producing runs. But I wasn't like, man, oh man, would I like to mail a pipe bomb to someone's house like that? Like, this is a pretty big, drastic difference there.
And I also want to add, I've seen a lot of people sending the Mark Feinsand article around and trying to use that as like a perfect representation that the Red Sox made a great move. If you read through that article, a lot of it is the same model-based like outlook. That yes, getting that money off the books when you look at how those models say this guy was going to age, all these different things. But once again, and I think Zach Scott said it somewhere, like a lot of these GMs understand or think they can win battles because you plug it into these equations and you win, but it doesn't lead to you winning the war. There's certain moves, and a former player like Buster Posey in this spot telling you and showing you how excited they were to take on a Rafael Devers. You know, the owner saying this is a hanging slider and we just felt like we had to swing at it. People realize what it means to get a generational talent versus you taking back a package of prospects, which there's some interesting characteristics there. But once again, the premium elite talent often is the thing that rises above all of that. But the Red Sox, their biggest thing here was getting the money off the books. Whether they use it or not, that's going to be the way to judge it, you know, for the most part here. But everyone around you is telling you they could have played this out longer. They could have tried to get more, but they made this decision now for a bevy of reasons, and we're breaking them down here. That's what we're doing. We're trying to give you the outlook of it all.
I love how the Giants as an organization have reacted to this trade. Like you would have thought they got Bonds again.
Oh my God.
They are so excited. And that's how, like, imagine you're a free agent right now and you see that. You're like, man,
fuck yeah.
Could that be me? I know they're going to pay. Like they offer deals. You know what I mean? Like
they were the ugly girl at the fucking dance for the last 15 years. Oh, Stanton, Judge, pick whoever you want.
Shout
Bryce
out to
Harper.
ugly girls, by the way. You're beautiful
Shout
on the
out.
inside. Yeah.
Yes. But like they were the one that always didn't get the girl. They weren't able to get the girl. Even with Carlos Correa, it's like, fuck, he fails a physical. It's like you show up to get the girl and her parents won't let her come with you. Like they saw the opportunity here and they were so aggressive and willing to jump on it because they knew the dangers of somebody else getting involved and what could happen there. So that's why they acted as quickly as they did. They wanted the deal done where it was. And that's why he was on the plane when it got done. They were fucking moving this thing because the Giants recognized, holy shit, we're about to get one of the top hitters in the world on money that is not going to kill anybody. It's not Guerrero or Soto. Yes, let's get this deal done and let's get it done now before something fucks it up.
Before they realize that they can do better, which they definitely could have.
Yeah, it feels like to me the Red Sox never, once they made their mind up that they were trading him, no one was able to get through to the decision makers like, hey, we maybe shouldn't do this, or if we want to do it, don't do it right now. It seems like once the train started, there was no stopping it.
Yeah. I mean, so ultimately that's where I land on all this is the Red Sox did a lot of lying. They did a lot of deceiving. They did not handle this correctly at all. I still hate the return. You know, I think the Woo Sox really missed an opportunity to when they had Harrison walk out to just have like silly string or something. Like if they just like mocked like the Giants like entrance for Raffy, if they're just like woo with like some like buckets of dry ice. I don't like the return. It's hard to get excited about it. I even said the other day, I was like, if they had gotten Bryce Eldridge back in this deal, then I'm like, all right. You know, like it sucks Raffy's not here, but like you got an exciting piece coming back. There's nothing exciting about this return. I mean, no disrespect.
That's
but like,
not true.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
What did I say?
I'm excited about Harrison.
I think there's something. Come on. I think that's a little unfair.
Well, how's that unfair?
I think you can feel like the Red Sox should have got more, but to get Kyle Harrison, a guy who was a top 30 prospect a year ago and has at least shown he can be a back end starter.
A year ago,
right?
He's not a prospect anymore.
Yeah, he's 23 years old. So it's like if he
comes in
here,
had 3 seasons in the big leagues, but he's reported to Worcester for what reason?
They're going to rework his arsenal. It's similar to Quinn Priester, and they're playing a little bit of the service manipulation here as well. Let's be real. After July 4th, they get another year as well.
Bryce Eldridge has a 620 OPS since he got brought up to AAA.
Yeah, but he's still
like he's 6'9". He's playing the wrong sport.
But at the same time, that shows you the Red Sox thought, or they were shooting for an elite talent to get back instead. And maybe there's a way you get him if you're willing to eat some of that contract, but that wasn't the priority. The priority was to get the money off the books.
Oh, I don't think the Giants, unless it got to the offseason, would have put Eldridge on the table, knowing
I don't
no one
disagree
else
with
was
that.
going to deal. Like, no one else was super interested. The Red Sox called the Braves, and a lot of the names are out there that I've seen other accounts tweeted.
Dating back to the offseason, a lot of those rumors too.
But like the prospects aren't, so I'm not going to say them here. But it was Ozuna and Sean Murphy coming back. And the Braves were the ones who said no. And I think it had more to do with the prospect because Ozuna isn't expiring.
Wouldn't it have been hilarious to watch people call Rafael Devers a clubhouse cancer and then Marcelo Ozuna's walking into the clubhouse here?
That's alarming to me that they were just like, well,
he's done some bad stuff off the field, but his teammates love him. It's the same thing as Chapman. It's like, bad dude off the field, but his teammates love him.
He's like a repeatedly bad person, though.
Don't tell me you're worried about the impact Devers is going to have on the big three, and then you're bringing out a dude who had his hand fucking choking a woman as one of the guys.
I'm not supporting it. I'm not supporting it. I'm not saying they wish they made the deal, but like clubhouse cancer, he's not. Like his teammates fucking love him.
But they're treating it so much like Devers was going to poison the big three, like he was having this negative impact on these kids. He was going to send them on the wrong path.
There's no negative impact. It's just negligent. It's the same thing when, you hear some of the younger guys before the big three even got here being like, man, I wish there was a veteran I could talk hitting with. Like Raffy didn't extend himself in that way to anyone else. Like he just did his own thing.
That's why you paid Bregman. That's why Bregman's here. It's so he could be that guy. He can go do your sponsor shit. He can be the good guy.
This is before Bregman got here.
No, but he's in the organization at this point in time. That's why part of the reason you went and made this move.
No, not when we heard those complaints. He was not here yet.
No, but when you make that trade, like all of this coming together, when you're having these conversations about a player, like I'm not going to sit here and worry about Rafael Devers poisoning the big three this season when you got Alex Bregman to be that kind of personality for them. That's one of the things you were lacking and missing.
Where is that coming from? Who said that?
Craig Breslow has continued to talk about the environment and the growing of these players. It was in his press conference.
But who said that Raffy was poisoning the big three? Who said that?
It's a little hyperbole and poisoning, but talking about how much they care about the environment and these players and what they're coming up in. They referenced again and again they were worried about a culture issue and what these guys were.
There is a culture issue. There is a culture issue. There is. I don't know. I mean,
created by you.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
No doubt. Yeah, but
and Devers deserves blame for it too. Don't get me wrong, but if you start a fire, the whole job of a front office is to be able to put it out. You weren't able to put the fire out. It burnt the house down.
Here's the thing that I kind of pissed me off a little bit with the whole Devers situation was them going to him saying, we're paying you $300 million. You got to do all this stuff that we say and blah, blah, blah. Or acting surprised that he's not doing the stuff that you expect from a franchise player. He never wanted to be the franchise player. Did you expect him to say no to $300 million? And he's been in the organization since he was a teenager. So you knew the guy, like you knew the human being. So when you had all these expectations of him, I can't imagine that he went back on his word. Like he said, yeah, I'll do all this stuff. I'll be the face of the franchise. I'll be at every single fan fest and I'll do all these I'll talk to the media after every single game. Like they wanted all that stuff from him. Did they ask him before they gave him the contract if he was down to do all that? Or did they just give it to him expecting him to become the person that he never was? And I, again, would like to believe that didn't take place. They just probably assumed we're going to give you this contract. This by default makes you the face of the franchise. And the face of the franchise does X, Y, and Z. So off you go. And when he didn't do X, Y, and Z, they were like, well, what the fuck? It's like, well, you knew that he wasn't that type of guy. Like the money doesn't make you that person magically. You just either are or you aren't. And he's not.
Or why was there like a handshake deal? Like, hey, if we keep you at third, you have to do these things. And then the second they reneged, he reneged.
The truth is,
he's just never that guy.
You paid the contract because of your fuck-ups. That's why you paid the contract, because your last shred of respectability in the entire Major League Baseball community was, are you going to let this last guy from your core walk? And then your team's a disaster.
It's undone now.
That's what it was.
It's absolutely undone now, because I think now if you are and this is the point that I made last episode. If you are a player that is a young player looking to sign a long-term extension, or you are a free agent that's relatively young enough, maybe before 30, you're like 28, something like that. Like you're looking at the whole Boston, like, because remember when we had Alex Bregman on right after he signed and he said him and his wife had 4 pages worth of questions for the Red Sox. Well, in the future, if I'm a free agent, that's a question that I'm asking before I sign with the Red Sox. Like, hey, first and foremost, can I have no trade protection? And if the answer is no, then I'm going to be like, all right, well, how long before you trade me? Because that's the MO of your organization. Who had the tweet the other day? It was like, this century, the only players to finish out like a commitment of like 4 years or longer. It's like JD Drew, Daisuke Matsuzaka, JD Martinez, and there was like one other one. And it was like Story and Yoshida are trying to do it right now. It didn't count extensions. Didn't count extensions.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was like free agent contracts. Like how many guys actually like made it to the end? And it was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, but like the guys we trade out of nowhere are the homegrown ones. Like I'm not gonna knock the Red Sox for getting up out of like the Carl Crawford deal.
Remember when I put my finger up earlier?
Yeah.
That was to say Breslow does not get enough shit for the Chris Sale trade. Does not get enough shit for that. We've kind of just moved on and accepted like, that sucks anyways. But that's one. Like he's not a homegrown guy. That kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't hate the process there, but it has aged as bad as a trade can age. Like, I don't think there's a way the Devers trade can be worse than the Chris Sale trade, considering you've desperately needed a top end arm.
They're all bad.
And you got nothing back.
You got nothing for Mookie Betts. You got nothing for Chris Sale. And the jury's out on the Devers trade, but like you didn't get a blue chip, nothing. You didn't even get the guy that you wanted to get from the team that you made the deal with.
I have my qualms with the package. If Kyle Harrison's not blue chip, he's whatever the next color chip.
Yeah, I think that's how I would frame it. I do think there's a lot of things to like about Kyle Harrison, but if they can't get him right, it's such a big indictment of the pitching lab and what they're doing, and they're going to have to eat it. And credit to them, Fitz and Dobbins, and in the minor leagues, Clark and Coley.
About the pitching lab, though, I mean, like, what the fuck has the pitching lab done?
If they didn't have the last 8 days,
story do they have? Like, you don't even have a guy. Really you have 1 month. The pitching lab has 1 month last year to boast about. That's it. You don't have a guy that it was like, man, he was the number 36 prospect in the Red Sox system, and now he's the number 3. He's their top pitching. Like, there's nothing that they've done with any pitcher where I'm like, boom, like, look at that.
I feel better about what they have going on in the minor leagues development-wise for some of their prospects than I do the big league level. Because, like, you're seeing the Brandon Clarks of the world make, like, a significant jump. Peyton Tolley and what he's doing. And he's another guy with a similar fastball, movement-wise, as you see with a Kyle Harrison. That's where a lot of that is going with. The guy they got, Fajardo, from the White Sox for Cam Boozer.
Big yoink.
Dude, he's going to be a top 30 guy. He's jumping up. People are saying he's one of the best arms down there in the FCL right now. But at the big league level, I think that's a very fair question. I think they're going to, if you ask the pitching lab, they'd point to Aroldis Chapman and say, look, we brought Aroldis Chapman back. We've turned him into prime Aroldis Chapman. I'm not saying they should, but you've heard them talk about it that way, right? And I think they'd point to that. Justin Wilson, Justin Slayton last year as some of their things. But rotation-wise, it's more than fair. Walker Buehler looks lost. He went back to throwing like he did in his previous starts. This past one, it blew up in his face immediately. Go back to doing what you were with the Dodgers.
Has not taken a step forward. I mean, obviously he's hurt right now, but the expectation was this dude is going to be electric fucking closer type. Like he wasn't even striking guys out before he got hurt. He has not taken a step forward.
I think Justin Slayton was a very good setup man coming into this year, but there's been ups and downs with him.
I'm talking this year though. Like no one has taken a step forward this year at the big league level. Nobody.
I mean, Dobbins clearly has. Fitz has been good outside of the start that they shouldn't have. That was organizational failure, not Richard Fitz. Juan Valera continues to be excellent. Brandon Clark is excellent. Connolly Early, I feel like, has taken a step. David Sandlin, I don't know if anyone's going to crack that nut, but like I agree with Tyler that like I think you've seen it I'm more confident in what Willard has done organizationally, top to bottom, as opposed to what Bailey has done. And it's a tough time to say that because you're not winning any of these games against the Yankees, against the Mariners, against who the fuck did we play in between? Tampa? Did we just play Tampa too? Yeah, we played Tampa. Like, you're not winning any of these games without the staff doing what they've done. Like, as bad as Giolito has looked at times, he has shoved his last 2 times out. He's now off the every other thing. Bayo has had 2 drastically different seasons within each of the last 2 seasons as they try and figure out his picks, Mitch. And I think some of that is on the pitcher as well. So while I'm not sitting here being like Kyle Harrison is going to be the ace of the future by any stretch of the imagination, they are also getting Garrett Crochet to pitch longer and deeper into games than he has at any point in his career. Now, a lot of that is just the maturation of the human being and what he was asked to do. But you still have to do it before I can believe you do it. And he is doing it. He asked to come out more into this game today, and they said no, because Garrett Whitlock, by the way, is back. We're deep enough into the season right now where he has been a plus player in a way that he wasn't under previous pitching coaches. So I think it's a pretty split decision, but I'm not out on what I'm seeing like I was a few weeks ago. Buehler's been bad. Like, he was bad with the Dodgers the whole time outside of when he was younger. So they took a swing there. It did not work. He should not really pitch for them anymore. They can trade him. They won't get anything back, but they can and should trade him because, Kyle Harrison will be up in a few weeks. And Tanner Houck had a rehab assignment today against Max Scherzer. And
Cutter Crawford throws a bullpen on Friday. Patrick Sandoval at some point in the second half. Like, you're going to have these other arms pushing. Just for opportunity.
My concern is less with Bailey in the pitching lab. It's more with, as we venture into this offseason with this newfound Rafael Devers money, and we know there aren't any bats that you really feel comfortable giving that kind of money to, you better get me a Dylan Cease. You better get me a Zach Gallen, and I better not fucking hear, oh, well, we have Kyle Harrison. He's ready to take a step. You can't big 3 the pitching staff too. You can't just be like, no, our savior is Peyton Toley. It's Luis Perales coming back, because he'll be back. There's no stalls with him, right, T?
I was about to say, we haven't heard much, nothing bad, but we just haven't heard much on Perales in general since.
Well, it's supposed to be like July ramp up anyways, so I don't think it's that crazy, but I can't have them use the youth that they've acquired as the reason why they're not going out and getting a sturdy number 2 behind Crochet. Like, I will not. And now if they like trade for Sandy, I know his numbers are shit, but if they trade for someone who is that caliber, fine. But you can't not go address that. Like, Tanner Houck, you cannot rely on. That's not a knock on him. If he wants to come back and be the guy we saw last year, I'll be thrilled, but you cannot rely on him. Cutter Crawford, we really don't know what that bullpen's going to, if he's going to pitch this year. That is not a guarantee for the big club. Peyton Toley still has a lot to learn in the minors. Brandon Clark isn't crazy close. Like, Luis Perales is maybe like next year, August, he's coming up, something like that, based off of the injuries coming back from. So I need them, if they're not going to allocate that money in terms of a big trade for a bat, I need them to spend that on a frontline starting pitcher. I think that's like a need, not a want.
Yeah. And you'll have Michael King as an option there too, like another guy on that free agent market if you're willing to bid out. Seth Lugo, who we know they liked before, and you can make your argument what you think of him or what game of a playoff series he should start. But I do think that's going to be another way you really need to grade this, entire pitching program, is once these guys all start to get to the big league level and there's this wave of arms, which ones are you picking to be in certain spots? What are you doing with the ones that aren't going to stick here? Because if Tanner Houck isn't a starter and you want Dobbins in the rotation, but you also want Richard Fitz getting reps here, and like you said, Connolly early gets to AAA and starts pushing, you're going to have to pick and choose. And you can see when a guy like Zach Penrod gets DFA'd, there is you're at a point depth-wise, talent-wise in terms of arms that you weren't for a long time, at least the last 5 years or so. So these guys are all coming up, whether you agree with Penrod getting DFA'd or not. But where are you putting these guys? What situations? What's the kind of role you envision them? Because I think that's just as important as almost the development of the player too. Are you putting guys in positions to succeed where their stuff plays up, where it plays right, and you're not faking a guy as a starter because it worked for 2 months back in 2023 or 2024?
Right. They also, I don't want to hear like, I'm fine with Jordan Hicks being on the team. if I hear at any point like we're stretching him out as a starter this winter, I'm going to lose my mind. Like that, he's a reliever. That's fine. The Giants tried it, didn't work. You were not smarter. Like just make him a reliever, let him throw 100. Like now you have another Whitlock. You look at it that way, be thrilled about it, but do not try and put him back in the rotation. That is not an answer here.
That's one of the things that I'm like, when I start to piece this thing together here and like what you're going to do in the coming months, like, are you going to turn to a 6-man rotation? Like, is that how you're going to find a way to fit some of these arms in and do different things and to get by? Or are you going to just ship a couple of them out and you make a deal where this is how we get a bat or whatever it may be by sending some of that depth one way or the other? I think all that stuff is going to be, I don't know, very interesting to follow. I hope we don't see Hicks. Like, I think he's so similar to Tanner Houck. Like, if you start to really dive deep into the numbers, the repertoire, can't get lefties out, there's a lot of similarities there. How long did they cling to Tanner Houck being a starter, and did they just hand him a rotation spot when he gets back? Because, yeah, you could say kick Walker Buehler out. Sure, you can do that. Well, what are you going to do for Kyle Harrison when he's ready at, roughly the same period? Is Richard Fitz, like, you fucked up everything with his rehab. He deserves his opportunity up here. Cutter Crawford, you going to ship him to the bullpen? Because you're going to have to do something with all these arms here. Like, it's great to have a lot of good, not great arms, but, you can only have so many of them.
You can never have too much Via, T.
Oh, yeah. You know what they say about Via.
What do they say?
They're always saying it, too.
They are.
They won't stop saying it. What's the thing that they say, T?
Well, what they always do say is life moves fast, and sometimes you just need a way to relax, recharge, or stay focused without making things more complicated than they already are. Hell, everybody knows I make my life way harder than it needs to be.
That's true.
You ever try meditating, but then get stressed out about how bad you are at meditating? Same.
I do.
That's why I love Via. Jared, this is for the people. Because they actually make feeling good easy. 500,000 customers can't be wrong. Via is changing the game in natural wellness, combining high-quality hemp-derived ingredients with powerful cannabinoids to create real effect-driven results. Not just fancy packaging and empty promises. Want better sleep, more focus, a little boost in the bedroom, or maybe just need to chill out because your stress levels are currently at screaming into the void status. Whatever you need, Via has a solution. And here's the best part. Via lets you customize your experience. Whether you're looking for daily wellness, laser focus, or deeper relaxation, aka the kind of chill that makes you one with your couch, Via has it. With products ranging from 0 to high cannabinoid levels, they've got options for everyone. We're talking award-winning effect-forward gummies to calming drops, all made with organic, lab-tested hemp from trusted, independent American farms. None of that mystery gas station nonsense. Yeah, I've taken some of that gas station nonsense. It's not good for you. Don't take it if you care about your family. And you don't have to jump through hoops or get some weird doctor's note. Via legally ships nationwide, discreetly, because let's be real, your nosy neighbors don't need to know your business. No medical card required, no sketchy parking lot meetups, just straight to your door with a worry-free guarantee. Not sure where to start? No worries, Via has a product finder quiz that will hook you up with the perfect match in less than 60 seconds, which, let's be honest, is less time than it takes to decide what you want to watch on Netflix. So if you're 21 plus, treat yourself to 15% off and get a free gift with your first order using our exclusive code section10, all one word, at viahemp.com. Plus, enjoy free shipping on your orders over 100. That's VIIAHEMP.com.
Wow. Also, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Think about your favorite leaders, mentors, and idols. They don't always have all the answers, but they do know when to ask the questions or seek support from their community. In a society that glorifies hyper-independence, it's easy to forget that we're all better when we have a support system behind us. Therapy can be a source of support of any area in your life. It's time to shift the focus from doing it all to knowing that we're better when we ask for help. I need to get back into online therapy. I remember I canceled my last appointment. I forget what I had to do, and I never rescheduled it. So this is probably this is the longest I've gone without a therapy session, probably since like before the pandemic. It's been a minute. So T?
I recently signed up for BetterHelp.
Did you
I
really?
was looking for a way to better treat my mental health and deal with everything going on in my life. I have my first upcoming session in the next week where I'm going to talk about my problems, but I'm on the train. I'm trying to be a healthier version of Tyler Milliken, at least mentally, so that I'm not miserable.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Proud of you.
First step's the toughest.
Thank you.
Proud of you, T. Proud of you. BetterHelp is fully
This is
online.
not for my drug addiction that people are also pinning to me recently. I do not have a drug addiction.
You might.
Yeah.
BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. Access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. Easily switch therapists at any time at no extra cost. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/rocket, and that'll get you 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rocket. And suck one. You want to just rip through this this Mariner series a little bit? There's not a ton really to add. I mean, you guys were kind of fucking going off the rails there, breaking down like the 8th and 9th depth options for the rotations. I feel like we can probably talk about the series now.
We can keep going.
No. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough time to be like Andrew Bailey in the pitching lab sucks when it's the only reason they won any of these games.
I don't think that it sucks. I just don't think that there's like individual success stories this year. I think that recently you've had good starts. So maybe I'll add this wrinkle into it. What if like the pitching lab isn't all that should be getting credit for some of these guys that have turned around their seasons? What if there's, I don't want to say too much, but what if there's people that deserve credit that aren't getting it and probably won't get it because they don't want the credit. They just remember
Chris Holt.
Remember when like Dustin Pedroia was the one, like everyone was like, oh my God, like David Price is tipping his pitches. And then Pedroia was the one that like looked at tape and then was like, hey, this is what you're doing. And then he fixed himself. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I believe he also did it with Eddie Rodriguez.
Yes, he did.
It's like when the big piece, what was his name? The big piece.
Andrees?
Matt Andrees.
Yeah, when he taught Garrett Whitlock, like working with him, the changeup starts to take this new level. And then people are like, Dave Bush created this fucking weapon out of nowhere. It's like, no, like he was working on the side with another player and boom, it happened.
Boom. Yeah. I think something like that is going on with the Giolitos and the Buehlers when he was pitching well. It's something like that where, you know, it's something like
There's
that.
one guy. Who's the guy we hear that's on an iPad? I'm not saying you're confirming this, Jared. I'm saying it.
I'm not saying that.
We hear stories of one guy with an iPad apparently sitting with everyone and constantly showing them shit. And Garrett Crochet, you go back to spring training, talking about how Bregman sits and talks with the pitchers, which position players don't typically do. If I had to pin it on one guy, he'd be the one I pin it on.
Oh.
Listen, him and Bueller might be speaking different languages then, because that's not working.
I mean, it was a bad start in this series, but he's had some good ones too.
Not recently.
Well, like you've been really down on Bueller.
He's just been bad. I'm not down on him. Like he's just been bad. It is what it is.
I know, but like you're not even
now.
leaving the door open for Bueller to right the ship.
It's not a thing he's done. And if you want me to be like Andrew Bailey isn't doing a good job, then the Dodgers, you'd have to agree, do a better job with their pitchers, at least theoretically. And he was bad there. So it's more like, yeah, he's just like Giolito shocked me. I don't know that. Like Bueller's tough because like I was okay with the signing, even if I wanted someone a little more stable after making Crochet the trade. Crochet's been exponentially more stable. He's been a true ace in every sense of the word. I know Jay had the Pedro stat today. We used to see that all the time with Chris Sale. This just happens to be a larger sample size than any of those Sale stats ever were. So yeah, it's not that I'm like I dislike the person or anything, but yeah, he's just been if other pitchers in the rotation were doing what he was doing, they would be getting killed for it. I'm not even killing him for it. He's just been bad. I don't know. It's that crazy to say.
His numbers are worse this year than they were with the Dodgers last year. And I think what's tough is
he's got like a 6 ERA, yeah.
Yeah, but when you've seen him, I say especially since he came off the IL though, the velo's up. Like the stuff is there. With Giolito, we saw from start to start before the last two. One day he's throwing 96, the next day he's trying to hit 93 and maxing out there. Walker Buehler's stuff is there. You see movement, you see these different things. And hell, he's already mentioned that he was having a hard time with what Andrew Bailey was telling him what to do. Seemed to go away from it for a start, and it really worked. You go right back to it this start. I think that's where people start to question things or not understand things. And you can look at the pitching lab for that. You also look at Walker Buehler because he's a fucking vet and he's been in the big leagues for a long time. Eventually, you got to figure it out one way or the other. And it's nice to give the post game where you piss on yourself every time. It gets old. You know what I mean? Eventually, it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, man, you got to put up or shut up. Like, you're not putting up so far. And right now, you'd get kicked out before Lucas Giolito, which is a pretty crazy spot to be in.
Yeah, and I think there are teams that would definitely take him just because of who he is, and especially a team that's already in a playoff spot. That's why you're excited about him, right? It wasn't because, oh, he's so nails in the regular season. No, you have visions of him doing what he did in the World Series and last year and the last time the Dodgers. Was he healthy last time the Dodgers won or no?
Yeah, in the
2020
Verdugo?
No.
The bubble ring.
Oh, the bubble ring. Yeah. Walker Buehler was healthy for that.
That's what I thought. Yeah, like that's what you got him for because of the postseason dog that he has, and you hope he was just better than this, and he hasn't been. Not the end of the world. They've signed 2 pitchers the last 2 years. They were both coming off bad years, and then Giolito didn't pitch, and Buehler has pitched, and it's been bad both times.
Yeah, I think if you're the Red Sox, what you look at is, well, we have options. We have guys who can come in and, give us something and do some of those different things there. And that's it. I think that's what the conversation becomes. It's how you offload the contract. How does it make sense for everybody? Because whether he just doesn't click with the philosophy or whatever it is, it's just not working. It's just not working here. Like Giolito went out there and now he's found this fastball. He's throwing 52% of the time. Got 7 whiffs on it. It's like, cool. You see the development in these things clicking in. Arm angle. He's another guy who's mentioned it in tweaking mechanics. I've seen the stuff play up for Buehler, but the results aren't there. He's not putting guys away 0-2, 1-2 regularly to the point that Alex Cora is like calling him out on it. And you ought to get it done. Whether it's Bailey's fault and it's planning or him, it's just not working.
And it could be. I'm not here to rule it out, but it's not working at the end of the day, so I really don't give a fuck. It's working with other players where it isn't with him. Yesterday, those are some of the fastest walks I've seen. He would get guys 0-2, and then it's like, how did he end up on first? Did he get a hit? No, he walked him. I didn't even see those 4 pitches. It was alarming for a lineup. Giolito and Crochet held to 1 total run, and honestly, that wasn't either of the pitchers' faults. That was the left fielder's fault. So the other 2 pitchers held Cal Raleigh and the fellas runless over the other 2 games, and all 8 were to Buehler, right?
Yes, all 8. 8 earned runs, 4 walks, 2 Ks.
Those were the only runs scored off of a pitcher this series, and we used plenty of them. So I don't.
Yeah. Well, by the way, are they gonna fucking reverse that Duran play today? That was a fucking error.
I don't think they will.
Why?
I think just scoring wise. I don't think.
Yeah, but they can go back and make that an error.
Yeah, they can.
The ball was in his fucking glove.
Well, Giolito can petition them, right?
I think that's Giolito, what would
Crochet.
Yeah, that's what it would have to come down to. Or the player is like, I want my fucking hit, or whatever it is. They ruled it a hit, but yeah, it would have to be the pitcher then.
Crazy. I mean, he caught it. He in
the glove.
Yeah,
and then he just dropped it.
Yeah, and by the way, when I called that play out, I was like, that was absolutely an error, and Duran has sucked in left field this year. People were like, the sun, really? You're gonna give him shit for the sun? And then someone responded like, I'm at the game. It's cloudy as fuck out here.
Well, Christian Campbell, the 2 plays later, catches a ball with the sunglasses on his hat. Yeah. He doesn't even have the sunglasses on, and he comes down with it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's the same fucking thing when you've got
a lack of focus.
Well, I'm talking about the people like T, where it's you've got the blind Casas defenders. Now there's the Jarren Duran defenders, where it's the sun, and you have people that are I'm at the game, it's cloudy, there's no sun. He dropped the ball. Yeah. It's okay. You can like the player and be he should have fucking caught the ball. It's an error. It should have been 6 shutout innings for Garrett Crochet today. That's all I'm saying.
Correct. Yeah, that's why I frame it Buehler's the only pitcher to give up runs. That run is charged to Duran. Crochet did not give up a run today.
At this point in time, we've talked about the hot streaks. We've seen Duran get going at certain points this year and just stop. Right now, he's a below league average bat. It's a 97 WRC plus with his defense in left field being disappointing.
I thought it was at 104.
It's at 97 after today per Fangraphs.
How the fuck does it go down that much in one day?
It was at 100 coming into today. I'm looking at WRC plus. You're probably looking at OPS
I'm looking at
plus.
OPS plus. Yeah.
His OPS plus is still, what is it, like 104? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, but not
but once again,
today.
Like for Duran, like you want to talk about accountability. He's one of the guys you really need to look at right now because this year is becoming extremely disappointing for him. He is not living up to, he's not, 50% of the player he was last year right now. He's on pace for
he
maybe
set the
a
bar
3-win
too high.
season.
Like outside of last year, this is kind of who he is. Yeah, that's fine. But
he's not even 2023 Duran.
No, he's not.
Well, no, I think when he went down, he was like top 5 in doubles in the league.
He played 102 games in 2023 and he finished with 34. So that probably tracks considering he led the league last year with 48. So that definitely tracks. But right now, if you double all his numbers, it's not perfect by any means, but if you double all his numbers, he's going to end up with 36 doubles, which would be 158 games played and 2 more than he hit in 102 games in 2023. Like, that was a 121 OPS plus. Like you said, it was 104 coming into today, went 0 for 4. What did he swing at that first pitch? With one of the only times there were runners on base and just immediately
horrendous.
Like weak fly. Like I've called it out throughout the year. He's not for everything. And Rafael is definitely worse. I'm not trying to get people to jump on me. Rafael is definitely worse, but Devers is not, or Duran's not taking pitches either. Like when he comes up, I expect 3 swings and the at-bat's going to be over one way or the other.
Yeah, listen, when we talked Duran, I think everybody here would tell you he was not going to be an MVP candidate again. No one thought he was going to be that. You should be at least someone on the outside of all-star voting or something like that. You're not even close to that right now. And that's where you got to circle one of the more disappointing things of the year. And it's why I saw a lot of people in, Duran's message. I know some people read into it like he doesn't give a fuck about Devers, whatever. And, he's trying to rile it up. Duran's one of those guys. You're either with him, and if you're not, it's fuck everybody else. That's the kind of guy he is. He's getting everyone going. We know all or nothing. At the same time, when you're circling and saying like Jarren Duran, I'm happy this is the guy leading us and doing all this. He's not performing this year. So when you're talking about guys who go out there and get the job done, Jarren Duran isn't one of them right now. And like that should be something it needs to be talked about. And it will be because the trade deadline's coming up and there's going to be teams calling. And what
if they're not
are you
already
make at that point, But, if you're going to sit, and I was someone who criticized Ceddanne Rafaela a fuck ton all offseason, I can acknowledge the things Ceddanne Rafaela has done this year. And it's still at 86 WRC plus, but he has a higher WAR than Jarren Duran right now.
What's his F4 right now?
1.6. Duran's a 1.1.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you, I'm not telling you he's better than Jarren Duran, but I tell you the Red Sox models are going to tell you that story
they will.
Very quickly that.
They will.
It won't take much thinking.
Put it this way. When it comes to the Red Sox outfield, outside of Roman Anthony, you can, I'm not married to any of them. Like, if you told me that
Willier's your guy.
I love Willier, yeah, but things have been going just fine without him either. I don't know.
They haven't. They're not scoring runs.
They're winning.
I'll take. Sure, but that's not a sustainable way to go about this unless you think they've magically assembled the best rotation in bullpen.
They would also tell you that he's a platoon bat.
But his glove is elite.
Gold glove.
Right. And his arm's elite. So even when his bat is streaky,
not very accurate, but it is strong.
Sure. I don't when Campbell's out there in center, that's
I'm
when
just saying I'm not married to
center.
any of those 3 guys. I think if you told me any one of them was the guy that was going to take a seat for Roman Anthony so that he can be here full time, then if the alternative is Roman being optioned, I saw that being floated around, that's fucking absurd. That's not an option to me. So if you told me Duran was traded, Rafaela was being reduced to a utility role or moved to the end. I don't know what the fuck you would do with Rafaela, but I'm not going to be broken up about anyone being the odd man out so that Roman can get his reps.
That's where the Kyle Tucker mostly copium that fans have had. You do have to get rid of 2 of those guys if you're even going to consider that. And that was the consideration last year.
Where the fuck does that come from, though? Like, we're not signing Kyle Tucker.
No, we're not. But it's people have immediately just taken that money and been like, oh, we'll get King Tuck, which would be sick. But it's like the one thing we don't need is like another lefty outfield bat, which he'd be sick. I'm not saying don't do it if he wants to come here for some reason. I don't know that's what it's the Astros connection with Bregman and with Cora. Like there's all that, but he's going to be the number 1 free agent, assuming the Cubs just don't offer him something crazy, which they probably won't because they're the Cubs.
He's going to get at least
400. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like we're talking like 4. Yeah, I have a really hard time seeing the Red Sox doing that. Not that I think the Cubs will be smart enough as a franchise to lock him
John
down.
Henry is not lining back up to dish out hundreds of millions of dollars again. Like, I think Soto was the one guy where it's like the generational of the generational. Like, we can market Soto and this and that. He's a superstar. Kyle Tucker, very good player. Would love to have him on my baseball team. But he's not the guy where you're like, Kyle Tucker, we got him. Like, this is the guy that we can market as our superstar. Face the
underrated, so underrated.
No, you're not hearing me.
He's not.
I think everyone knows how good he is. He's very good. But he's not holy shit, we got him.
I think he is.
He's not. Like,
5'5", and that was 78 games.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers, yes. But I'm saying the Red Sox will not be moved to pay for those numbers if it doesn't come with the star power of like a Juan Soto. They were all in on Juan Soto because they knew we can market the fuck out. Like, this guy is a star attraction. Kyle Tucker, elite baseball player, and they know that. But how many times have all the behind the scenes stuff told you like the Red Sox line of thinking, like in Terry Francona's book, when you had people from the Red Sox front office going to Theo Epstein being like, we're not sexy enough. They didn't care about wins above replacement and OPS plus. It was, we need stars. They look at it as a TV show. How do we market our team to make it more appealing? So that's what they saw in Juan Soto. Kyle Tucker, very, very, very good baseball player. Is he if he gets $400 million, will he be worth it in terms of production? Absolutely. But are people saying the Sox got King Tuck? Season tickets, punch it in. Like, I think more people would than you're alluding to, but they also can't sell that they're looking for the stars and trade Rafael Devers. Yeah,
you can't.
Yeah,
like I'm not like for going and doing this. I just said I'd rather go get Cease and something else. Like that's like Bichette would make more sense.
What if Cease just turns into Walker Buehler light?
No, Dylan Cease, you look at the metrics this year, like his ERA is like mid-4s, the FIP's below 3. Like, Dylan Cease is going to be just fine. I have no worries about Dylan Cease.
Or King. Like, Gallen, I can more understand the hesitancy, but even I think he's probably going to be fine. Like, he seems like a lunatic talking to Dallas or whoever he was. I think it was Dallas. So, yeah, to me, I wouldn't think it wasn't a home run move of a headline stealer like that. Wherever he goes is going to win the offseason headlines by far, unless it's a crazy trade. Like, who else is there to compete with that? Alonso was a free agent last year. No one wanted him.
And whatever team that is going to pay him knows they're about to get fucked. Like, let's just be 100% honest.
And it's going to be the Mets again. Like, he's their Ortiz. He's their Ortiz. They're going to put him on perennial 1-year deals, and he's just going to be nicer about it.
Jared, there's been some Mets things floating around on Devers. Is there anything you got on that, or no? Just what's been out there?
Yeah. What was that? Hold on, let me pull that up.
I saw some names, but I don't remember where I saw them, so I'm hesitant to speak.
So the rumor was the Mets offered a massive package for Devers, Duran, and Chapman, but only wanted to pay 75% of Devers' contract, and that's where a deal with the Mets fell apart. I don't know how true that is, but that's just something that came across my dash. I don't know. Like, I didn't float that like to the scoop shop. I mean, you never
saw
know.
it somewhere. Like, it must have been you. I don't know where else I would have seen that.
I don't think that I put that in the scoop shop. I think.
Did you have names attached?
No, I think it was just that like the Mets were looking to get those three, like Duran, Chapman, and Devers. But
the names were very interesting. I don't know.
Like Vientos?
No, it wasn't Vientos. Obviously, I would want Vientos.
It was like Ronnie Mauricio, Beatty.
No, it wasn't him either.
Oh no, maybe we saw
Beatty Beatty was one of them, and it was like an and/or, but it was like 6 names. I'm not seeing it this other place too.
Yeah, any aggregators, don't quote me on that. That's just what came across my dash. I didn't run with it.
It was like Sproat, Tong, and McLean, who are per pipeline, which is mostly preseason, but it's their 2, 4, and 5, and then Beatty. So it was like a decent chunk of like their system, but it was also more than Devers, to what Jared was saying.
So you're arguably your best 2 chips at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, I think teams are still going to want Duran, and I think the Red Sox are one of them, by the way. I don't think it's like a guarantee he's gone.
No, what fascinates me is Craig Breslow really putting his foot down here and being like, no, we're planning to buy. This is not a white flag. Because you could play like an in-between, bare minimum. If you just like, I don't want to sell everyone down the river and make them depressed, we're going to see. Let's see where we're at in a month and we'll go from there. No decisions have been made. Him just being like, no, we're buying. We're not even considering. It's like, we're trying to figure out what we need. That's really it. Like, that is a wildly aggressive stance to take. That's either going to completely blow up in your face, a la 22 or 2022 Heim Bloom, or you end up looking great and you go on a run and everyone's like, holy shit, Breslow had the vision the entire time. But man, talk about risky game you're playing here, because you keep a Chapman and a friggin', Duran's a tough one, but let's talk more rentals. Say
Duran, you can move in the offseason. You don't have to move him now. I would, but I understand, like, you could still move him in the offseason. You can move him after the next offseason. Like that, there isn't a rush there. Chapman, it's inexcusable if they don't sell
appearance. But like, it's like him, like, could you move a Justin Wilson, maybe even a Greg Weissert? The guy, I like Greg Weissert a lot. He's about to implode, I feel like they run him into the ground. No, it's not his fault. It's the Boston Red Sox fault because they're running him into the ground. Very Brennan Bernardino-esque. But I think that's it. It's like, if you are really going to cling to this hard stance and you aren't willing to adjust if you need to, it is not going to be a good look, I feel like, in a lot of ways.
No, that's what got Heim buried, is making a proclamation like that and then not living up to it. I think that he's more in the jackpot than I think he realizes. I think he has a lot of hubris to him where he thinks he's like untouchable because he did this. Like that, if to what Jared was saying, if Henry thinks firing Breslow is going to get the biggest crowd pop, you're out of here, pal. It doesn't matter what you've done.
It's also when your boss describes you and like the first adjective isn't like good, bad, bold. Yeah, you've done some bold things. Bold can be, you can be bad bold and you can be good bold.
Yeah,
it's not
undeniably bold. Like trading Chris Sale and Rafael Devers is bold as fuck. Trading consistently with the Yankees, pretty bold.
Nuts on the table. He's done it. And in some spots it's worked and some it hasn't. But this is one of those spots here. Last year, that deadline, you were moving a lot of guys that were going to be Rule 5 eligible. Not things you get torn up on or hold on to that much. Right. This deadline, you're in a much deeper part of the pool, buddy. This is not the same game where whatever happens is a win. Like, we're all playing with house money at this point. No, you fuck up this deadline, you could really impact the next couple years, just like Heim did 2023 and 2024.
There's a real chance to add a lot of talent throughout the organization. I'm not even saying just minor leaguers, but if you look at what Chapman's value is right now, it's quite high. Duran's value, because a lot of teams aren't going to be trying to move a guy like Duran, is going to be quite high. And then you have 2 top 35 picks coming up in the draft. Like, you can add a lot of talent that you just sent out for Crochet. Like, you could pretty much, and you just got back. Like, I'm not the biggest Tibbs guy. Seems pretty funny, actually. But that was the pick after Montgomery. Like, you kind of have replenished everything, and you go into an offseason without a lot of free agents with a lot of weapons to go get a Rafael Devers type bat to put into your lineup. I've got a question for T, because I know Jared's going to be an immediate no, and I understand why it's a no. But my question for T, if the Tigers call and they say, we got Job on the table.
Oh my
Bregman,
God. Oh my God.
Do you say yes?
With Tommy John going on right now?
Yes, even with that.
Probably not. No.
Wow.
I think, unfortunately, they've backed themselves into a corner in a lot of ways where they need a veteran. And
would you say yes to that, Jared?
If he was healthy, I would say yes.
You're not Jared. I think I would absolutely consider that because
How would you consider it? Would you do it?
How or why?
Would you do it? Just would you?
I would absolutely consider it because I think if he opts out, then he would just come back here, and then you have Jackson Jobe. Yeah. Yeah. But here's the thing. Like, if you were to ask a lot of these, like they think that they're going to the playoffs. And I don't think that we can sit here and tell them that they're not. I think it would be a damn shame to pull the plug on this thing. Like, to Coley's point, yeah, there's a lot of value for Aroldis Chapman right now. There's a lot. I mean, Duran, whatever. Like, if you're freeing up a spot in the outfield, then fucking you have my approval. Let's go. But Chapman, that guy can help you. I know he's been a bum in the playoffs, but like he can help you get there, and I want to get there. And Bregman is the same thing.
I think Bregman is a clear sell. I don't think the other two are necessarily, we think we're not going to make the playoffs moves.
Chapman for me would be. Would be.
You just got Hicks. Yeah, you just got Hicks.
If you tell Tanner how, go fucking get to the bullpen, buddy. Go be what you were back in 2022 when you were closing games out.
I think that you're really like downplaying how good Chapman's been this year.
I'm not.
Incredible.
Right. I'm not going to. I didn't say the Houck thing. I want that on the record. I didn't say
how after trading Raffy Devers, how are you going to tell your fan base we're going for it when you trade your fucking lockdown closer and your best hitter? We're still going for it though. Like, what do you mean?
No, Bregman would be that.
Right, but so would Chapman.
But I'm saying if you trade those two and keep Bregman, because I don't think you're just getting prospects if you trade these guys.
Who are you getting for Chapman if not prospects?
No, Chapman, I think, would be prospects. I don't know that necessarily Duran would be. I mean, the deal the rumor that had floated, and it seems crazy to do now, but it was Duran for Chris Sale, which is a very funny rumor. Like that, if Craig does that, that's fucking bold, friend.
Oh, like, I would make that trade in a heartbeat.
Oh, agreed. But people would
I would make that
furious.
Trade so fast, it would make your fucking head snap off.
Well, though, they want their version of Cole Reagan. So that's what it would be. Just like you got Kyle Harrison. It's like, what freakish arm talent can we bring in that another organization can't get to do it right? That's what they would try to jump on.
I just want a guy to go behind Crochet that I know is going to give you a chance to win. And you might have a handful of those guys where on any given day, maybe they could, but like Sale is pitching like vintage Sale right now. If you combine Sale and I know it's lefty, but who gives a fuck? Because they're two of the best pitchers in baseball. I don't give a shit if they're lefty, righty, or throw with both hands. Like if you had Sale and Crochet back to back, holy shit. Like
Duran for Durangelo. I'm seeing the vision, Jared.
Ooh. call up DePoto and be like, what'll it take? What'll it take? Yeah, I mean, he's also not ranked as high as I thought he would be for
Durangelo.
Like, yeah.
I mean, he's going to be he's a project and a half for sure. Like I trust the Mariners. I'm glad he went there because they have to do this. Oh, by the way, Brian Wu shoved Saturday because me and T were like, we'll kill ourselves if we trade Casas for this guy. Obviously would have been an unbelievable move in hindsight. Would have been the best move ever if they had done that.
I got a lot of tweets back to the thread. It was like Duran and Casas like, oh yeah, would you go back now? What do you have to say? I'm like, all right, dude. Like,
yeah, no, for
anybody
sure
at that time has that take. I'm sorry, I don't feel bad about it.
I mean, there were pro Wu people at the time, so it's not like
Red Sox. You were trading Casas and Duran back then for Brian Wu.
Oh no,
not Duran. No. I wouldn't.
That's the tweets I was getting tagged in.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about this past off season. I'm talking 2 years ago.
I would have done a Casas for Wu 1-1. Yeah.
Oh,
I think they were probably trying to dump the Yoshida contract with it, but
correct.
Yeah, I was out on that. I can own that L.
No, I'm not giving up Duran in that deal. Like if I'm trading Duran, I'm getting something nice. But again, like I'm not taking the call.
People have been like, oh, you hate Durant. That's not true. We have this outfield logjam. I'm the only one who will point to a player and be like, that's the guy I would trade for these reasons. Everyone else is just like, just figure it out. Like, that's not an answer. And by the way, Craig is also doing that. Like, he has not figured out an answer for this fucking this trade. It did a lot of things. It didn't solve the outfield logjam. Not one iota did it save it, especially with Cora immediately being like, finally, my guy Yoshi's back. My dinner partner. We can go out and get some fucking grub on the town. He can tell me his tales about playing.
He can show me all the spots.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know. I don't like, to me, Duran has the most value. Like, I don't know that Williams' value is super high right now. If Rafael, even if he didn't have the extension, I don't know that other teams would value him as highly as the Red Sox would. Duran was the All-Star Game MVP last year. He had MVP votes, like plenty of teams, and they know they don't have to pay him long term. Yeah, that's going to have a ton of value, and I think he get major league talent back.
What ballpark? Because to me, it's actually very funny thinking of this question. What ballpark do you think favors Duran's skill set the most? Because I think it's San Francisco. Just reuniting those two. I mean, like, we didn't even really point it out, but like in the Netflix doc, like there was like a snippet of them seemingly not getting along.
Yeah. I kind of get it from Duran's perspective. Like, this is the guy, the organization's taking me to arbitration over $500,000. And obviously this was even before that. But they've
like,
told
I'm out here
me
playing 162, busting my ass, and
yeah, they don't want to give me an extension. They gave this guy the world, and they can't get him to do shit. Like, yeah, I understand why Duran would not look at that person favorably. I get that completely.
Well,
that's like, these are human beings. Everyone wants these fucking athletes to be robots. Like, they're not. They're humans with real emotions.
Well, we saw it was the same with the Kenley stuff too. Like, Duran was the one kind of getting fiery and upset, and like, I think that's one of the reasons why you've seen Alex Cora kind of give him some of these leadership qualities or whatever it may be. It's awesome to have those qualities. It's a lot harder to talk the way you did, last year when you're an MVP candidate versus this year when you're one of the more disappointing players on the team. It kind of goes both ways.
But put it this way, he's only disappointing because he set the bar so high. I don't think he's not having a disappointing season relative to the rest of the league. He's having a disappointing season compared to last season.
He's better than a league average bat. I'm sorry. He's way better. And he's better than being a subpar defender in left field after being an elite defender in center field last year.
I still don't understand that. I still don't understand
it's focus.
I don't know. I mean, he was what, like
the mistakes have been
11 outs above average in center, and now it's like 2 in left.
His mistakes in left field have been comically bad. They're like routine-esque plays that he's fucking up. It's either like a very routine play or sometimes a bobble. But when you've seen the errors Duran's made this year, the reason why you always say, oh, well, it's Jarren Duran. He's better than that. The problem is it's been 2.5 months of him making these same kind of plays over and over again.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but when he first came up, the knock on him was like not a good defender in the outfield, right?
Kyle Hudson saved his friggin' life.
Well, he should try saving it again. Because
don't disagree. And I don't know if it's maybe
not looking great out there.
Yeah, maybe in left field, like the way he was in center, where he could let his athleticism take over and help him with some of his inability, maybe natural feel for center field, like a Ceddanne Rafaela. I don't know what that is, but if that is the case, then it's another reason probably why you should move him if he's not built to succeed in left field.
Why is he not trying out right field then? Not that it's like any easier, but like, I think we can check off left field it doesn't work.
I had many people, Jared, in my mentions telling me, oh, they're protecting Roman by putting him in right field at Fenway.
It's infinitely harder.
No. You're wrong. I learned this week that the monster's so difficult. The thing Manny Ramirez, famous Gold Glover Manny Ramirez,
my pal Manny,
had figured out. Yeah, your pal Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm. Same reason they put Christian Campbell in center.
He gave me his number on Tuesday.
Yeah?
Yep.
Wow. I wish we had talked about that only this episode because that was so sick.
I've never met Manny. People were shocked to learn this. I've never met him, never talked to him, never interacted with him. He is my favorite hitter of all time. Like the joke about my swing looking like his, I obviously know. It kind of does look like his, but it's because I just grew up watching him and idolizing him. And I have the video that I'll probably tweet it out Friday night. I'm going to tweet it out Friday night in the live stream. Before we went on the air, I showed Manny a video of me taking BP at Fenway, and he was like, "That's my swing. Nothing. I literally just showed him the video.
You didn't say anything?
Nope. I was like,
wow.
I was like, he said, same finish, like talking about like the follow through, So it's now undeniable. The haters are going to be throwing up after they see that video. I'm going to post it.
And why are you going to Friday news dump it?
Well, because people are going to be tuning in for us on Friday night. That's going to be prime time.
Will, undoubtedly.
Yeah, that's going to be prime time. Raffy, like, put it this way. Is Friday night at 10:30 p.m. prime time television? No. But in the world of the Red Sox, when all eyes are going to be on Rafael Devers versus the Red Sox for the first time, that is prime time. So that's what I'm dumping. That's going to be right in the middle of it. So
I think
I'm
that's
excited
the
for that
worst.
video to drop.
Like the worst part is trading him. The second worst part is trading him and immediately having to face him like that. That sucks so much.
Well, that's
just trade him Sunday night. Like, hey, you live here now. We'll see you later.
We got a logjam to figure out, man. Willie Abreu's going to be ready.
I just think it's great for the theater. That's what we're here for, right? We want the theater.
Objectively is, but
if you're the Red Sox, the last thing you want is this bullshit continuing. Like, today was the first day where it cooled down a little, and it's like it's about to be lit completely on fire again in 24 hours or 48 hours, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and they got I think you got to sweep in order for people to be like okay when they come home.
Oh, they were losing against the Guardians the last time I checked, so they might be 0-2 with Raffy. So they're kind of due.
Oh, I'm seeing exactly. Yeah.
Yesterday, I tweeted out at night when Devers got his second hit. I was like, Devers, 2 hits tonight.
Yeah,
Red Sox,
again.
2 hits tonight. Oh, they still lost. They still lost just like the Red Sox, dude. Like, can you not put 2 and 2 together that the Red Sox lineup would be better with a guy who had 2 hits that night, the same amount of hits that you had when you have Abraham Toro batting second for you regularly? And that's not Toro disrespect, Coley, before you get upset.
No,
he's not a number 2 hitter.
Listen, this is Yoshida isn't either, so I don't know what they're gonna. I don't know what they're gonna
Him
do.
and Ref Snyder are going to be the greatest platoon the world's ever seen. I promise.
Well, Ref
you.
Snyder's hashtag my leadoff hitter.
Sure as hell ain't Jaron Duran versus lefties anymore.
No, that took Cora gave him a longer leash than he gives other players with that. So you shouldn't ever have like uniform standards for everybody. Like that's just not how any line of work works. They tried to have uniform standards for Rafael Devers and only Rafael Devers. Like that is dumb.
They don't have an off day tomorrow. That'd be funny if some of the Red Sox went to the game.
Oh,
the Giants. Okay.
Salcatillo.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be the watch, I think, for so many people is how many guys go over and do the whole, hey, man, like dap up.
Oh, they're all
hug.
going to do it because they don't want it to be a thing. And again, I was told there was no real beef with the players' endeavors. I don't know anyone that was like, yeah, get him the fuck out of here or anything like that.
There's a lot of people, though, I feel like on the side that's like, stop talking about it. He's gone. Look at what he was. That want to take these quotes every time a player says like, yeah, I'll do whatever the team wants. They're like, this is all, they all coordinated this together. All 4 or 5 of them are all saying that to get back at Devers at the same time. Like, no, they legitimately asked, like, what role is he going to play? What role will you play when you finish your rehab assignment, Willie Abreu? Oh, wherever they want me. Just, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to do my thing. It's like, oh, he hates Rafael Devers. I knew he fucking couldn't stand him. They're all here together saying this. It's like, yeah, Marcelo Meyer says the same thing because if he needs to go somewhere, he's going to go somewhere or he's going back to AAA. He's trying to survive in the big leagues right now.
I would love to see Marcelo be like, it's shortstop or it's nothing, bucko. But one thing I didn't know, and it made it kind of funny considering he was also a free agent last winter. I had no idea Devers and Willie Adames were like best friends in the whole planet.
Dude, he dapped him up when he was walking out to first base. Like they have a moment. I'm like, this wasn't a selling point. Not once. Willie Adames and Devers.
It's like if they had signed Adames and just put him at third, Bregman's been great. I'm not saying we should have done this. But is Devers just like, sick, you got my pal. Like, yeah, put him, I'll go do whatever the fuck. Like, is it different? It may be.
His friend probably would have at least told him what was actually going on. Willie Adames probably is the one breaking the news to him, which is still better than the way they handled it.
But he just may be like, whatever, man, I'm just happy you're here.
He's like, yeah, Devers, they're telling me I'm going to play third base. Like, they're telling you, like, oh, no, you're the third. No, I'm playing third base, just so you know. What Cora should have been doing.
I just can't wait for this to be over after this weekend. Like, I'm tired
Please.
of talking about it. Yeah.
You always think it's going to be over, and then Mookie wins a World Series with the Dodgers. Like, it's never over when you trade a guy like this. It's why
I'm not
defend,
worried about that, though.
I get that, but the Giants are behind us. Like, they're the only other team with 3, right?
Yeah.
The Century.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm not worried about them winning the World Series this year.
He's going to be there longer than this year.
I feel better about them making the playoffs than I do about this team. They're a better team than you are. At least record-wise right now.
I think both can make the playoffs.
I agree with that.
Would you say one's more likely?
I'm sure that the odds would tell you. I'm looking it up right now. I'm sure that the Giants.
The West is no fucking walk in the park.
No, but they're like hanging tough with like the Dodgers. Yeah. The playoff odds for the Giants 60%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Sox
the Red
like
Sox
30.
is 33.2%. So they have about a double the odds. But I still like the Red Sox chances to make the playoffs this year. Only because, like, you know, Bregman's still coming back. And I still think that because of the Devers move, there has to be another big move. They can't just trade Devers and be like, ta-da, we're better. Like, they know that they're not better. And they have to fucking do something to address that. And I trust that they will. Maybe I'm a dumbass for trusting that they will, but I think, like, Craig Breslow's job is not to sabotage the Red Sox. Craig Breslow's job is to win a World Series for the Boston Red Sox. He's not out here just making trades because his feelings got hurt, and he's not trying to hurt the team. So yeah, I think Bregman coming back, that's big. And whatever move, and again, I don't trust that they have a plan. I trust that they want to do something that'll help the team. Do I think that they know what they're going to do? No, I don't think that they've thought as far as past this weekend.
We know they'll lie, and we know they'll kick the fuck out of a can down the road. They'll kick it so far down the road you wouldn't even believe it. Like,
unless you're Rafael Devers
kicking cans. Yeah, that's the one they just had to take care of today. All the rest of the cans they're booting into orbit. I have a new trade target, Jared. If you wanna see some aggregators get to work.
What position are we talking?
I mean, he's a third baseman by trade, but that's not where he'd be playing here.
Perfect. That's exactly what the Red Sox want.
Listen, it worked before. It'll work again. I promise.
Do you want to put Jose Ramirez at second base?
No, that was a plan when he was a much younger man. But I'll always take Joe Ram on this team for sure. I would like to have seen him with Devers. Now that you may mention it,
he can play whatever.
It's another guy he would have been thrilled to give up third for. But no, it's not him. Same division though.
Okay, so you want to take. You want to take the third baseman. Wait, are you going back to Carlos Correa? No, that's third baseman. I know, but like you've been on like the Carlos Correa train.
It's a new name.
Yeah, I know it, Jared. So I'm not stepping out. I'm just letting you cook.
All right, go ahead.
Oh no, like I actually know Coley told me.
I talked to him last night.
All right, well, go ahead. Tell me.
Who plays next to Carlos Correa sometimes?
Who's the third baseman for the Twins? Why am I blanking?
Who had at bats per home runs on par with Aaron Judge last year, and played for the Minnesota Twins? Where's number 23?
It hurts.
Yeah, it's constantly hurt. Royce? Yeah,
isn't he hurt right now?
Yep,
he's got a calf thing. Yeah, but that's been the Twins since Liriano. That's a guy who would mash at Fenway. Absolutely mash.
He's never healthy. I would not make that.
No one on the Twins is ever healthy, ever. Byron Buxton, never healthy.
I understand
Justin
that.
Morneau, constantly not healthy.
But it's not like target field that's hurting them. They're just brittle players.
But that he was he the first overall pick, T? In the draft? Like, I know he was up there.
I don't think he was. First overall, round 1, 2017.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, this is a guy who, when he has played, just mashes. And I'm not saying like if we could get him or Tatis, I'm taking Royce Lewis. Obviously, no.
Always hurt. Always.
Okay. So is Story.
No, that's not true. Like he was very healthy in Colorado. He's been healthy this year, knock on wood. Like Royce Lewis
this year he's been healthy.
Never healthy, ever.
Okay. And when he is healthy, what does he do? Mashes.
But he's not, though.
The one thing that would scare me with Royce Lewis is the quote he gave after the last one. It felt like one of those times when a player is at his breaking point. Yeah. I'm tired of being picked on and bullied by the game. That scares me because that sounds like a guy who is beaten down by the constant injuries this early in his career.
Oh, for sure.
The talent, man. I would love the talent, but I feel like the way the Red Sox are rolling, everything would blow out in a month.
It's not an acquisition where people would be like, oh, we got a proven star by any means. But if there's no other time the Twins would have traded him without giving up an absolute haul. I don't think that's the case right now. Like they have other needs. We just talked about all the pitching issues we have. I think you could sneak Royce Lewis for a very under the market deal right now. And most importantly, Jared, we just made a trade with them. So I know Breslow and whoever the fuck runs them can complete a deal.
I'd rather trade for Correa.
Man, now with the money left, he's a little bit older, and I want to bring Bregman back. Like I don't want to move Correa off of that side of the field, and we know Story's going to be here for 2 more years, and I hope Bregman's here longer than that. Royce Lewis could play first. He could DH. He could do both of those things. Like I'm completely fine. You might
be keeping him safe by doing that.
That's what I'm saying. That could help him tremendously if you're not putting him in the field.
Yeah, Carlos Correa also having a very sneaky, disappointing year.
Yeah, he was much better last year.
79 OPS plus with a 645 OPS.
Royce Lewis.
The metrics all look good. He just hasn't played enough games.
He's hitting 202 with a 585 OPS.
Right. I'm not saying like the easy. People want me to say the easy things all the fucking time.
That's the
but no, this is the time. If you believe that like Royce Lewis is a generational talent, this would be the time you try to get to the Twins and be like, hey, ship us to us when he seemingly is down on himself. The injuries have somehow hit a level that's even crazier than people thought. And he didn't hit that great when he was healthy. But you look at the Savant page, everything's red. He just hasn't played enough games.
He also was, his last 10 games in June, he slashed 367, 457, 533. He had already matched his extra base hits from May, doubled the RBIs, and had 5 strikeouts and 5 walks. So after missing the start of the season and being bad in May, he was looking like the guy he was last year. Both times he played. I mean, he got hurt game 1, and his first 2 at-bats were a home run and a double. Like, that's all he did. Well, and he was immediately out for 4 months. Like, I get it. Trust me, I fucking get it. But I've also seen Byron Buxton start the year in Fenway Park and get hurt immediately. That I do believe it's a Twins issue. Like, I am confident in my assessment that the Twins are doing something wrong.
And I will say, Royce Lewis, the only thing that does suck, when he's hot, nobody's hotter, but he always gets hurt in the middle of the hot streak, too, which is the heartbreaking part. Yeah. It's the same run. He's also that good of a baseball player that anytime he goes down, it's like, oh, yeah, he's hot. No, he's a very good baseball player. That's just what it is.
It's a righty bat. You can play him at DH. You can play him at first. If he gets hurt, it's not going to, like, you're not giving up the farm to get him. That's why it's like, yeah, I'm not saying like, oh, that move fixes everything. But if that's the kind of upside they're not looking for, how else do they plan on attempting to replicate all the home runs and RBIs and doubles they just got rid of?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if the Red Sox have like a good equivalent of a guy
Royce
like
Lewis?
That. No, like not the tier of player, but a similar guy maybe on like the pitching side or something that flashed a lot.
I mean, it's Buchholz.
Yeah, Clay Buchholz would be the ultimate pitcher representation. Yeah. They don't really. Yeah, I was just trying to think of matches if you weren't like trying to deal prospects, if you wanted to try and do it from the major league team.
It would be it would be like them buying low on a Houck or on a Crawford. Like they would be,
or you get aggressive with like a Willier or something and they like them. Yeah. And then you pair it, something like that.
But yeah, if like the Braves are fed up with Acuna for the same reasons we were fed up with Devers, like, yeah, I'd obviously prefer to do that. I'd prefer to do superstars, proven ones. That's easy, Jared. Do you want me to come on here and say the easy shit?
That's also the difference.
Do you want me at Royce Lewis's lowest to be like, give me that guy?
I don't know. I want something that's going to wow me, and maybe his performance would wow me if he stayed healthy and just was doing his thing. But I don't know. I don't trust that that's going to happen. I don't think that's not the play for me.
I like dreaming on the Acuna
I'm not saying
thing.
do that and then do nothing else. That'd be crazy.
But I mean, in order to give him the opportunity to be that guy, he's got to play every day, right?
Yeah, I'd play him over Abe Toro for sure. I would be okay with that.
He's never played third base at the big league, first base at the big league level.
No, but you could DH him. You just traded your DH. Like you could.
They
put
wanted
him in
Raffy to
place.
do the same thing.
We're okay with asking people who've never done things to do them. I don't know if you've followed the stories, but that's kind of what we do here.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, if they want to trade for Acuna Jr., man, smart organizations like that, are able to deal with those issues in-house and keep it moving. Obviously, the Braves have been disappointing. But if you thought Rafael Devers was a problem and created issues for you, good luck trying to weather an Acuna storm. I really do wish you luck.
Well, you also, I think the Braves are a good example of the hubris that's been on display. And that's not even a shot at the Braves, but my whole life, no one has built more consistent contenders year in, year out than the Atlanta Braves. They really have not had a long stretch of incompetence. It was there in the mid 2000s. It definitely existed, but it was not long. And they went right back to having another first place streak and making the playoffs every year. And they've won 2 titles since the early 90s, which is more than a lot of teams, but they were constantly, we're talking Hall of Famers. Max Fried was their number 4 pitcher last year. You know what I mean? They're building different kinds of animals. They're
Drake
constantly
Baldwin's their backup catcher.
Well, that's why they're pantsing the A's in multiple deals back-to-back years. This is just kind of what they do. And they don't win outside of the weird year where Acuna gets hurt and other good players get hurt. And they've got fucking Jorge Soler hitting iconic home runs. Baseball does not make a lot of sense. You can plug whatever you want into whatever computer. There is some weird element that isn't accounted for anywhere that the Braves really haven't been able to crack. A lot of teams haven't been able to crack. It's very year to year. It's very fluid. So that's why it's signing a guy for multiple years. It may work for 1 year. It's not going to work the whole time. It's hard. It's obviously hard. There's no denying that. But man, oh man, it gets made harder when you make some of the decisions the Red Sox make. When fucking Kennedy, and I know he's up there to speak for the team, but when he's I'll take our track record over the last 25 years. You shut the fuck up, dude. What are you talking about? That's not how this works.
Also, his little friggin' scene talking about when he did Nesson pregame the week before. I was just trying to be optimistic. I saw on, in the TV in the studio, he was taking grounders. Dude, what are we fucking doing? You were discussing this deal for weeks. Once you started discussing trading Rafael Devers, he was gone. It was done.
Right.
So what bullshit are you feeding people? There's no need. No one made you lie about any of that. No one forced you to say what you had to say that, he'll play the field when the time's right. Because you knew damn well he was not going to play the field when the time was right for you. So why? Why just force more bullshit down people's throat when you've called fan base and people in this media circle liars? No, dude, you are exactly what you call other people, a fraud.
Wow.
Is it unfair? Is it wrong?
I think the thing that stood out to me when Sam was talking during that interview or the presser was come on, don't bring up the World Series titles. People do not want to hear that. People do not.
How many times you have to tell someone the same thing? He does this every time.
Yeah, don't bring up the World Series titles. I mean, people are angry. You have to know fans are fucking pissed. And I mean, I wish Steve was here. Famous CM Punk, John Cena promo. CM Punk being you are what you hate. You're no longer the Boston Red Sox. You've become the New York Yankees. And if the Red Sox are just going to sit here and talk about the rings they used to win instead of talking about the one that they want to win this year, well, you're sounding a lot more Yankee than you are Red Sox in that situation. So I did not like that. I didn't like we've won 4 and it's yeah, okay, well, right now, I mean, I know that it sounds appropriate to us as Red Sox fans, but if you're not a Red Sox fan, what I'm about to say might be infuriating to you, but the Red Sox are currently in their longest World Series championship drought since they won the first one in 2004. This is the longest that we've had to wait for the next one. So I'm not getting picky or greedy about it. I mean, I understand that most organizations have to wait longer than like fucking 3 to 7 years. Yeah. You know, like I understand that like there's fans that have waited their whole lives and never seen any. So I'm not greedy or delusional to that regard. But since they won that first one and they figured out the secret sauce of winning championships every so often, this is the longest in between right now. So
I think you're 401 and 402 since you fired Dave Dombrowski.
Yep.
Under 500. And like that's what you're flexing on people.
Yeah.
It's
500, whatever way you want to frame it. And you're a big market team that has the power that, you know, maybe 5 franchises in the sport could muster up. Jared.
So can I just say, you with like the what do you call that?
Stubble.
The stubble plus the established stash plus the glasses. It might be you.
I'm hot.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I think like you look sophisticated and like mysterious and handsome.
You needed the stubble though. The stubble is key.
Yeah, you can't go clean shaven, but I think the established stash with the stubble plus the glasses, that could be T full time.
It's a good hair day too for T.
Thank you. I have nothing in it.
Yeah, and like you've noticeably lost weight too.
Thank you.
Well, that's from he's eating drugs instead of food.
That's honestly true. Yeah, that's the addiction. Yeah.
Well, it's hard for me to get up to the shelves where the snacks are right now. So I really am protesting, and I can't go down the stairs to get DoorDash.
Right. So this is perfect.
And sitting in the car is the worst pain imaginable for me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, this might be you full time.
This is the least I've ever tried on my appearance, and like this is like, you did it. You found it. You figured it out. Maybe I just don't have to try that hard.
Yeah, this might be it. So like now we just got to get you like a buzzer so that you can like stay in that shadow phase. Because if you clean shave again, okay, you have one.
Mm-hmm.
Like a trimmer.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Do you have a face trimmer and a nut trimmer?
I have a face razor and a nut razor, but not a trimmer. Yeah.
Someone said you should have 2 different ones, and I was judged very harshly for this. I just have like different attachments.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have like a nose trimmer too, like the different shit.
Yeah.
I have a very hairy nose.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I need like a different trimmer or anything. Like I have like hair in my chest and my stomach. But
yeah, I'm pro chest hair.
One on my beard. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what?
Gio finds his groove. Roman Dong, I think it moved. 6 straight, Sox don't lose. Crochet, Boston's ace. Cello and Story, deep space. Catch up will take place. Oh, a series of haikus by Tyler Milliken. Sorry.
Xander Bogaerts deep into left, tie ball game.
I put out that Story and Xander tweet. A lot of people did not like that this morning.
I mean, Jared was trying to bury him today.
Lined into the gap. That scores Machado easily. Lockridge scores. Lockridge stays at third, I beg your pardon, and we are tied at 3 apiece.
He scores. I mean, out. He's out at third.
Didn't even say Xander Bogaerts' name.
Once again, the stuff not quite
they
as
hate him
crisp.
out there.
It looked like a cutter or something.
This is a national game.
At 93.
Yeah.
Lockridge looked like a little bit of a late rate.
I mean, this guy's been fighting for his fucking life. We can't even get a Xander Bogaerts. Nothing. The disrespect is crazy.
I did like your take, though. He is by far the player I'm the most uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to
struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. It really does just make me sad.
Yeah.
And I think
So-
it's because of the contract, and you know how fucking ridiculous and unfair it's going to be for him to try and live up to it. You got to take your bag, but that is not an easy thing to have holding over your head.
So
No.
positive WAR player in the big 2025. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's super uncomfy because like that was the big thing that you kept hearing about Raffy was like, oh, once he got the money, he changed and he just became a different guy. Like Bogey, he's just been the same kid since he got called up. Like he's fucking awesome. Like my favorite Xander Bogaerts memory is after we eliminated Tampa at Fenway. The whole team was partying on the field, like drinking beers out of red cups. And obviously like security didn't care that like I stayed, but I didn't go on the field. So I was down by, where like the first like fan seat that you can sit in next to the Red Sox dugout where Cora sits. So like I was down there, and what's the dude's name that he hated everyone? The pitcher. Oh, what the fuck's his name?
And
Garrett
21?
Richardson?
Oh, Richards.
Garrett Richards. So he gave me like a beer and a red Solo cup, and all the players are on the field like partying and doing interviews. And Bogey was doing an interview after the Red Sox just clinched this playoff series, saw that I was standing there and stopped the interview on like live TV, like mid-interview, ran over to give me a hug. Like this is a dude that was, at the time, you're talking face of the Red Sox franchise, and was just like, I'm going to give this dude a hug because I know he's as happy as I am that we just won this fucking series. Like, hold on with your interview, but like, this is awesome. So it just pains me so much when I see these like Padres fans, and I don't blame them. Like, I get it. Like, it must be what Giants fans felt like to see Red Sox fans crush Sandoval.
Sure.
Like it's like he was a legend there, but it's like, yeah, he hasn't done shit here. And like watching like Padres fans being like, we gotta, like, it sucks, but gotta DFA him 2 years into or 3 years into an 11-year deal. Like he's kind of working towards like DFA territory. And I'm like, wow, fuck. Like, is it really that bad? Like, but yeah, there's no one that after leaving the Red Sox, I hoped for more success than Xander. And it just hasn't happened at all.
What's the Baines meter? What's the number?
38.6 or something?
Oh yeah, he's cruised past that. Congrats, Xander, on your Hall of Fame plaque.
Trevor Story having a higher WAR is pretty crazy, man.
This year Xander's at 0.3. I would hope Story's is higher than that.
No, I know. Both either way. Even if he had signed say you pay the Trevor Story money in spring of 2022 when he wanted the Jose Altuve contract, but it's depressing just overall.
So Xander's at 6 WAR as a Padre. What is Story is since he left? So 23, 24, 25.
2.4.
It's tough. And I hate that part where it's just like, well, you would never give Xander that contract. Obviously not. But he wouldn't have hit free agency if you just signed him, and it wouldn't look like this.
He got
offered
the
him 3 for
contract.
60.
Peter Seidler was dying, and they legit were like, somebody needs to take this money so that we can
Right.
try to win a championship before he passes. Like, it's exactly what the situation was. In their perfect world, like Trey Turner takes that money and they're running to the bank, and it is what it is.
And that
didn't happen.
wouldn't have aged well either. Like,
Nope. And like, to be fair on Xander, like Trevor Story fucked up his shoulder last year, obviously in a very bad way. Bogaerts hurt his shoulder in a pretty significant way, not to the same tier, but it was a very serious injury. It wasn't like some bullshit thing he had.
No, he always posts. That's why I respect the fuck out of him. That's my guy.
Yeah, he fractured his shoulder. I don't think it was like the same joint that Story did, which caused all the problems.
No.
But still, serious injury for anyone.
From 16 through 23, which includes a single Padre year, but that's his age 23 season. No, honestly, age 22 season from 15 to 23, he was a 5 WAR player over 162 games. Like he's the best.
Yeah, with most defensive metrics not liking him during that stretch either.
How are we still doing this episode is what I want to know. We still have to do fucking...
You brought him up.
We still got to do Stop and Shop and catch up. Like this is going to be the longest episode of all time.
Oh, God. I forgot about ketchup.
Yeah. I think we can just whip through ketchup again.
Yeah,
it worked last time.
Whip through the preview too. The game is not even the preview. It's Rafael Devers versus the Red Sox. I don't even know that we need to read all the. I know you like to, and we can, but
how many homers will Raffy hit? That's the question.
Clark's Ketchup Series MVP brought to you by Clark's Ketchup. Drizzle that ketchup. All right, we're just gonna whip through this. Coley, who you
got? So I have the Chicago White Sox because Lucas Giolito and Garrett Crochet won this series. So shout them out.
Is that allowed under the new rules?
I said after this vote. Vote, we will ban
I do not
voting.
Agree.
You didn't fucking speak up in the meeting, so
because I was here, I was on a meeting. Everyone else just put thumbs up on it. I'm out. I've never agreed to that. Never.
I was indifferent.
I feel like I don't like it. Like the main thing is people being like it's lazy to just pick the bullpen or the rotation. Like pick a guy.
The point of the catch-up is to illustrate how they won the series. It doesn't really have to do with one guy a lot of the time. Like sometimes one guy does shine. Other times it is a couple of like I don't even know. Like Roman could be an answer here because he had one home run that won them game one.
Yeah.
Story with the home run today like was the guys who contributed either only really contributed to one game. Crochet contributed to one game. Giolito contributed to one game. So like. I know Steve, he wrote in Crochet for his, but I disagree that it was just him because Giolito was filthy in this series.
This one, there was no slam dunk answer, and it's always tough when it's 2 out of 3 instead of like a sweep or something like that.
Chapman and Weissert are the other guys that played in both games. Like, are you giving it to one of them? Maybe you could make an argument for Chapman, I guess, like the 9th inning and him coming in early today, but like even that feels like it wouldn't be my pick in that scenario. Hell, Weissert scared me to death when he walked the first 2 batters in the first game on 8 pitches.
There wasn't a crazy amount of like Marcelo. Like was his
same as Roman.
Maybe, well, but Marcelo defensively was so smooth over there. Like, so I could almost understand Marcelo getting it with the technically game. Or no, it wasn't. It was game tying home run today. But yeah, I'm going with the White Sox.
I shouldn't pick the rotation, so I'll act like I'm a mature adult. I'll go Garrett Crochet here because I think this game as a whole and where you were at was a big, just continuing momentum, showing that after the Devers trade, you weren't going to immediately lose a series and let that start to become a thing. You made sure to get rid of the tiebreaker with the Mariners as well. And beyond that, going into this Giants series, 4 straight series wins. I do think that's very important. The Walker Buehler stuff doesn't bleed in and all of a sudden your rotation consistency falls off. So I'll give it to Garrett Crochet today because he didn't deserve to give up that run. That was Jarren Duran's fault. So he did enough to go and win this game. He gave you 6 and acted like the ace he needed to be. So I'll give it to Garrett Crochet.
Jake?
I got Giolito by himself. I mean, Crochet pitched equally well, but I feel like he just does that all the time, so it almost doesn't count. So going Giolito.
I'm leaning towards Meyer on this one for the homer. And I think we're like not appreciating enough the fact that he's a rookie and got called up to play third base when he's not a third baseman, and he's just been awesome over there. He's played great defense routinely, but it kind of stood out in this series. So I'm going to go Marcelo Meyer. Hogdale, let's see. Let's see what Hogdale does.
And my yapping about the Raffy trade was cut off by Roman Anthony hitting his first career home run. Very poetic, in my opinion. It's the end of the old era being cut off by the beginning of the new. Hopefully a good sign for things to come. In terms of other packets, Marcelo Meyer, I thought he looked very put together, very disciplined in this series. Lucas Giolito, I got to give major credit. Major packets in that start. 6 innings, 10 strikeouts. Didn't know he had that kind of start in the tank for him, generating that many whiffs. But gentlemen, in terms of who I'm giving my catch-up vote to, the person I thought like had the most impactful swing in this series, it's TS10 for me, man.
Wow.
It's got to be Trevor Story. They let him get hot. They said everyone said it. Don't let TS10 get hot. He got hot. None of us ever abandoned him. We always believed in him.
Did always believe.
Give him my vote, my catch-up vote to Trevor Story. Boys, have yourselves a fantastic night.
Wow. TS10 gets the vote from Hogdale.
I actually agree with what he said about Anthony, and I think that's why it was the most important swing of the series, because everyone was so fired up about Devers. Him just leading off, obviously not leading off the game, but having that home run immediately when he had been scuffling and everyone's freaking out. That was like a I'm here moment, even if he did nothing else the rest of the series.
All 3 Trevor Story homers this month have come on fastballs. Didn't have a single one before this month.
TC bullpen 10 2/3 scoreless. OB. We only had 9 hits in the series, but Marcelo hit a bomb, played great defense. He's my pick.
Okay.
Damn it.
Jamai. I'm going Marcelo Meyer this series. Offense / defense, chef's kiss. And then I believe this audio file is double Will plus Loomer. So yeah, we got Jamai, Will, OB, TC, Hogdale, Will. Yeah, all right. So this takes us to the audio submission.
Well, the motherfucking seagulls are swirling around in Seattle. The Red Sox, it's been a really boring week. And nothing's been going on at all. They just keep winning. Right down the tracks they go. 4 straight series wins. Holy shit. We all need a Xanax and like a day off in California coming at the right time. I'm here with Loomer and Middlebrooks, and we're going to probably solve the Rubik's Cube that is the hardest catch-up of the entire season. But boys, holy fuck. Like, I really, this has been a total roller coaster ride. I'm sure at some point we'll get into this stuff about Raffy and all the bullshit that's been coming out. But Lou, they had to win this series, and they did.
This is kind of how you thought the season would go. I don't know about you guys, but the last 2 weeks, you're in 1-run games, and you feel like you're actually going to win them. Yeah. Like there's a defensive play that's made. There's a call that goes your way. Like this is what's been going on the last 2 weeks. So they're not scoring. They ain't hitting worth their shit. But they're doing enough. Their pitching has been really good, and they haven't wasted that pitching.
Yeah, just 9 hits in the series, right? 3 today, 2 yesterday. But, you were doing the post-game show for radio in there, and I'm listening. You made a really good point. The defense has been a lot better, and I think that's part of what's helping the pitching. It's helping the pitchers work deeper into games. But coming up with the MVP for this series is fucking tough.
Yeah.
It's very hard. And by the way, speaking of defense, the left side of the infield has been nasty. I mean, Marcelo with the glove is awesome. He's got to be in a lot of people's minds. He hits the home run to sort of set the tone here today. The other guy on the left side hits a big 2-run homer that sort of decides this series. You got 2 starting pitchers, Lou. Both of them you could argue for. I mean, both Giolito and Crochet were fabulous in this series. if you have to pick one guy, it's hard, but do you lean in a certain way?
I do. And I can throw some packets out you mentioned. You got Anthony with his first big league homer. Marcelo's story been fantastic. And, of course, the pig. I throw a packet to him. I throw a packet to Karen Reed. But, given the flight we had to get here, given the drama, given how this team felt going into this series, and the way Lucas Giolito went out and threw the baseball, 6 scoreless, 3 hits, 10 punch-outs, Game 1 kind of set a tone. You lose Game 1 without Raffy Devers, you start panicking a little bit. He didn't let it happen. My MVP is Lucas Giolito.
I couldn't agree more. Game 1 was so important after all the shit that went down. All the emotions are high. There's so many rumors swirling, trying to figure out what the hell's going on around here. And Lucas came out and just absolutely shoved. And there wasn't enough offense to feel like you could give an offensive MVP out. There were some big hits. I get that, but not a lot to go around. So I'm with Loomer here. It's going to Gio.
Wow.
I'm so happy you guys did that because I was about to be, I felt like on an island, but I will say before we MF the hell out of here, like the swing from Trevor's Story does win the series. I mean, that's worth noting. Marcelo is unbelievable at third base. But I just think, we had the little Coors Light session on the airplane on the way here, Lou, after the shocking deal for Devers in San Francisco. It's impossible to describe the feeling that everyone had here, Game 1 in Seattle. And everything felt like it was very much up in the air.
It did. And that's why I was saying, like, how important Game 1 was. Like, you still are not scoring. You are not hitting. You're hitting enough because you got 2 really good outings. But day 1 without Devers, let's say you lose 1-0. You know what I mean? And you're looking around like, man, we really don't have enough offense. Or, and you lose a series because you put up 2 runs in a series. You do what the Yankees are doing right now, right? They can't score. Then you start sitting there saying, yeah, whether you're happy Raffy is gone, you didn't like the teammate, whether you love the teammate, whatever, your offense isn't as good. So it's important to continue to win. And I think that's why that Game 1 was so important.
Yeah, I'm with you. It would have been real easy to come in here and get swept and let the season just unravel. But instead, you could be, 4.5 back? And then you're in a wild card spot right now. I know it's June. I get that. But this was a very important series after something that happened to this team with the Devers trade.
There's no doubt. I mean, Roman did set the tone with the swing in Game 1. I was very close to going because, again, like in the same way, like Marcelo did tonight, it's cool that these young kids are sort of taking the air out of the balloon a little bit in terms of the pressure in the situation. But having been around this team, anti-packets to all the writers, by the way, anti-packets if you're taking Raffy Devers' agent side in this story. And I know in the 2 hours before this plays on the podcast tonight, I'm sure there'll be a lot made about how, the AI and all this bullshit that's going on in the media. Who cares about any of that? We have had conversations with everybody at the highest level of this organization with, by the way, the proper level of perspective that they own a little bit of this, and the communication was not great. But I last thing before we close this thing out, guys, I just cannot take the retrospective spin factory that agents and players and people are throwing out there to make it seem like in any way Raffy Devers was willing to play first base, would do it if you didn't take it away from him at times. I just thought that stuff is such retrospective spin. And I know the people, there are many good friends on this podcast that have talked about it. I don't have any time for that, Lou. I think all of that is nonsense. And I think it needs to be dispelled. Devers, he's an awesome hitter. He's a wonderful player. And all the spin about how he was willing to do certain things, I just reject it all.
You have to ask me nicely. Danny, I can handle the bullets and I can handle the bombs, but what I can't handle is you come down in that white uniform. You need to ask me nicely. I don't buy it one bit.
Yeah, me neither. Anyway, I agree with both of you guys 100%. The Clark's Ketchup Series MVP is Lucas motherfucking Giolito.
He won the vote, right?
That's important, right?
Yeah.
Good for Lucas.
We also talked about none of the things Will just bitched about. We didn't bring up any of them.
What?
I love Will.
We didn't bring up any of the stuff Will just complained about.
I love Will, but when we talked about this over the offseason, he was one of the biggest people saying Devers would just do whatever the team wanted him to do, and it wasn't a big problem, and all the drama about it was useless. It actually ended up being completely the opposite.
I said the same fucking thing. Like I remember during spring training, the first podcast after this thing started, I remember saying something to the effect of like, don't let this become a thing. Like, don't let the media take this and run with this and try and take away because at the time I'm like, this Red Sox team is going to win fucking 94 games. The Yankees aren't going to be good without Garrett Cole, and like they're going to win the division. Like, don't let this story drag out and kill the good vibes. And then it never went away. Like I was wrong on that. It happens.
I feel, dude, I'm telling you, this is one of the takes that I have felt the most convicted, the most strongest, because like it's just consistency. It's just consistency all the way across the board. I feel like, not to hype up what me and Coley did, but I feel like we really from the start hit on it, highlighted it, and continue to highlight it throughout the entire offseason. That something was there, and it was not something just to laugh off like half of Red Sox Twitter wanted to do.
Right. And the issue that caused that still remains. The people who caused the issue are still here. And it's ultimately like where I come down on being like, no, it was like the Red Sox fault. And I think once he made such a big deal out of moving to DH, you knew he wasn't just going to be like, oh, you want me at first? Of course, fellas. Like he made it quite clear how he felt about that. So it felt like a convenient excuse to dump the money. And they dumped the money.
And that's not to say Devers wasn't being selfish or unfair, like especially after the Casa stuff. I thought those quotes about being an outfielder were ridiculous, exaggerated, but you did everything to lead up to that point. You made an employee angry and this person that they're not. And I've seen it happen to some of the best workers and people who put their time in, where you have a boss that you felt like you trusted and they betrayed you and made you feel like you were less, broke principles that are probably very important to you and how you operate because you have the money you need in life. Yeah, that would turn a lot of people sour. And guess what? Your inexperience as a front office, your manager who was not able to communicate with the guy he's managed for, 7 years at this point in time, was not able to get everybody on the same page here. Instead, you told a completely different story all offseason and expected him to eat something different when he was at camp for a month before that and then came back after his daughter's birthday. Go to the roots of the issue. Doesn't mean that Devers' side isn't guilty and they don't have their own things, but I'll go where the problem started and who started the fire.
I'm upset people have been so angry about this because him being like, oh, what tomorrow at center field is so fucking funny. So funny that where does it end? Well, how much are they going to ask of poor Raffy Devers? Like that was comfortably the funniest part of all this.
Good organizations can manage an issue like this and get by it, or they're able to deal with a player who may have some drama going on if they're that kind of elite and special talent. That's what Rafael Devers is. You couldn't deal with it, and you were more than happy to get out of that money because of a model. And hey, if that's how you want to operate, good luck to you, because it's going to put you in plenty of bad spots because you need to have the feel of an Andrew Friedman or even a Buster Posey.
When I go to Stop and Shop, I can cross off everything that's on my list.
Tactical move! Incoming!
Stop and Shop. Look ahead. Stop and Shop.
Fuck yeah, fuck yeah.
Look ahead. Red Sox win, leave them dead. Red Sox win, I'm seeing red. Stop and Shop, we look ahead. Red Sox win, leave them dead. Red Sox win, I'm seeing red. Stop and Shop, we look ahead.
Fuck yeah, fuck yeah.
What's better than having to Stop and Shop, getting it done for all of you?
Stop and Shop, look ahead. Brought to you by Stop and Shop. Head on down to Stop and Shop right now. Use the promo code Section 10. You get 10 cents off your tangerines when you buy at least 5 pounds of tangerines only at Stop and Shop. It's a big series against the San Francisco Giants. Again, we will be live streaming for the Friday game. And Playback is giving out 50 free MLB TV 1 month subscriptions in the chat. Only on Playback. Playback. .tv/underdog MLB is where you can find us. We'll tweet it out. You don't have to remember the link, but if you want to write it down, go right ahead. The first game. Oh man, these are some really make funnable last names. This sucks.
Don't do it.
I'm not gonna do it, but like just know that I want to, and I'm gonna try really hard not to.
That's enough to set the curse within itself.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I just said that they like I would make fun of them, but I'm not gonna.
Let's hear them.
The first game on Friday night, it's a 10:15 start. It's gonna be Hunter Dobbins versus Hayden Birdsong.
What could possibly be funny about that?
Nothing.
That's right.
Nothing. It's a good name. Second game, Brian Bayo versus Landon Roop.
Big Roop.
That game is at 4:05. And then the finale, it's Lucas Giolito versus Robbie Ray. It's a nice little matchup there in the finale. You said you don't want me to give you the stats?
If you want to, you can, but
I mean, I want to go to bed, if we're being honest.
I know.
I'm exhausted. It's been a long day.
I can't feel my legs.
Yeah, he's in pain.
He needs to go to the hospital.
I'll just run through some of their stats. Hunter Dobbins is 4-1 with a 3.74 ERA, a 1.19 WHIP, and a 6.8 strikeouts per nine. Hayden Birdsong 3-1, a 2.79 ERA, 1.28 WHIP, and a 9.5 strikeouts per nine. Brian Bayo 3-1, a 3.49 ERA, a 1.47 WHIP, and a 6.8 strikeouts per nine. Landon Roop is 4-5 with a 3.99 ERA, a 1.46 WHIP, and an 8.1 strikeouts per nine. Lucas Giolito is 3-1 with a 4.73 ERA, a 1.42 WHIP, and an 8.1 strikeouts per nine. And Robbie Ray 8-2, a 2.68 ERA, a 1.12 WHIP, and a 10 strikeouts per nine. I apologize to Connor. He does a fucking awesome job on these notes, but it has just been a long goddamn day. I feel like I literally like rolled out of bed and just it's been nonstop.
Never stopped.
Yeah.
I love you, Connor.
Connor's the fucking man. We love Connor. He's been doing the notes for years, literal years. So prediction time: Hunter Dobbins, Hayden Birdsong, Brian Bayo versus Landon Roop, and Lucas Giolito versus Robbie Ray. Prediction: Coley.
So there are some guarantees in this world, and one I'm gonna be pretty confident about is that after watching Brian Bayo outpitch Max Fried, the AL Cy Young frontrunner at the time, or I guess Scooble, but either way, and not be able to talk about it for a second, he's absolutely going to get his dick pushed in this weekend, and it's going to be like the number one thing. My guy's sixes. I don't necessarily need that, but that's what's going. That if anyone's going to be like, let me work on my changeup against Devers, it's going to be Bayo, and it's not going to work well. I want to see nothing but nipple high 96 to Rafael Devers all week. If we don't know the book on this fucking guy, like everyone else in the league seems to, I don't want to see one off speed, nothing to the, I don't want to see anything down. I don't want to see any splash hits. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. Up here. I want us to be the Astros this weekend. If we want to fucking sign all the Astros, I want us to be the Astros this weekend. Let me see 96 of the tits to Devers the whole time. I have the Giants taking 2 out of 3.
You have the Giants taking 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Damn. T?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm gonna have the Giants taking 2 out of 3 as well. The Brian Bayo game, just big ballpark here, a lot of green. I feel like if you're talking about Brian Bayo getting BABIP to death, this is the ultimate spot for it to happen. I also feel like getting 2 good Lucas Giolito starts in a row. I don't want to get too crazy here. I don't want to get too excited. I feel like, well, at least with the stuff playing up to where it needed to be. I'm thinking 3 in a row might be a little too greedy here. I think the offensive issues are going to continue to be a very real thing. And I had seen Rafael Devers in big moments show up and shove it down people's throat again and again. Seemingly when everything's on the line or you're in the playoffs or someone he owns, he goes and does it. He's showing up to kick your ass. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to get our ass kicked a little bit. I like Hayden Birdsong a lot in the first game as well, but Dobbins, I think, shows up. You sneak that one out, but the last 2 don't go too great.
Jake?
This one's got Red Sox sweep written all over it. Devers, I mean, they got this new first baseman DH over there that apparently is a huge clubhouse cancer.
Yeah.
Haven't won a game since he's been there, so they're a mess.
That is true. That's a good point, Jake. That's a good point. If you bring in a clubhouse cancer and then don't win a game ever since he's been acquired, I have no reason to believe that that's going to change. Did you say 1 out of 3, T?
Yep, 1 out of 3.
Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's going to be 2 out of 3.
You're telling Coley he's wrong too?
I mean, he could end up being right. I'm not saying that he,
but I'm wrong.
Well, yeah.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
I didn't lay out the games they would lose. You said win, loss,
You
loss.
told
So
Bayo. Bayo's done. Bayo gave up 8 runs in that start, and it's already ended. Devers took him deep twice.
I didn't say we were going to lose that game. I just said he was going to get his dick pushed in.
Okay, fair enough.
That's classic Bayo.
Yeah, low key, Red Sox come with run support in those spots, anyways.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Classic Sox 2 out of 3 in that one. All right, no weather because no Steve. I mean, really, like Steve was at something that ended at midnight. He still could have done an hour and a half of this podcast.
He's in Central Time Zone, so it is.
Where the fuck is he?
The Underdog Company retreat. Jake, are you there? No, I just saw Mikey walk behind you.
Yeah, not there.
Not there.
You went last year, though. That's correct.
Yep. Me and Bags.
Bags. Shout out Bags, dude.
Shout out Bone Bag.
What a weapon to have at your disposal. I'm at the combine. I was like, yo, Bags, can you rip this? Can you make a compilation out of this? He's like, I got you. It's just like bang, 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 bang. What a weapon to have, Bags. Shout out Mikey too. He was out there grinding.
Always.
He got to meet Manny as well. Manny wanted to charge him $250 for a picture, but we talked him down.
What was the price?
Undisclosed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for him.
For Manny, yeah.
Oh, of course.
Who
Who else?
Yeah. Manny, we started talking about Cameo with Manny. And he's on there. I don't think he understands the concept of like when you book someone on Cameo, you have 5 days to do the video. Or 4 it's like 4 days. And I was like, how many are you getting? And he's like, oh, I got a ton. I was like, when's the last time you've been on? He's like, oh, it's been a while. He's like, I gotta go through them. I was like, oh, they're definitely expired. I'm like, that's Manny being Manny, man. He's gonna go on there. He's gonna go on there tomorrow. Like after we talked about Cameo, like he was on there this morning being like, hey man, Merry Christmas, man, from Manny, man. Feliz Navidad, man. That's just Santa being Santa, man.
Your grandpa died 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Shout him out.
Sorry to hear about your grandpa, man.
I was just happy he wasn't wearing a Yankee hat when you saw him. That was the only thing I was happy to see.
Yeah, I would have had Corey edit it out because he's obviously I made like the manifest wall of it was like 6 empty frames that just had names in them, and Manny was one of them. So now there's only 5 left.
It's big.
So I would have had Corey had to like edit out the Yankee hat if you have one on, but so that only leaves Barry, Nomar, Griffey, Pokey Reese, Scott Williamson.
Wow.
I've got everyone else. Who else do I need?
You with Ted's head.
Just holding it up. Or just like my arm around like the fucking cryogenic freezer. Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, Yaz would be cool, but I mean, he just doesn't come around.
Cladro, who was at Fenway the last week. That was cool.
Like, even though we've made actually, no, I do have a picture with him. I forgot about that.
Oh, okay.
I took a picture with him at the team hotel in Houston in 2011.
Just watching Clay work around Fenway and some of the social media people, it looked like they didn't know who Clay Buchholz was, but I know who Clay Buchholz is. I respect you. I love you. I will always love you.
Oh, speaking of like shouting out people that don't have respect for me, you guys
are boys.
You citing Pete Abe was crazy. Like that was crazy, dude.
He's usually the Red Sox mouthpiece.
Pause. I remember, I think it was like in 2000. It's like somewhere around like 2015, 2016. If he ever tweeted something that was newsworthy, I remember screenshotting it so that I'm not actually quote tweeting him and then photoshopping his handle to micro penis.
Well, all right. If
You
people
could've
have
done
followed
that.
my page, Jared, you've known this. I have never tagged Pete Abe in any of the aggregator tweets ever. I always just tweet the Boston Globe. Even in that
respect
tweet
that.
alone, the reason I screenshotted it was so that I didn't tag him or anything like that. I just wanted it to be the
Blue
information.
Sky.
Yeah, who the fuck's on Blue Sky at this point in time?
You, it would appear.
Yeah,
No. I check in when there's news. Him and Spear. But even Pete Abe, the only reason I did post it too is because usually he's being the mouthpiece for the Red Sox. I know there's a lot of people claiming he's just being a mouthpiece for Devers Camp in this case, but
Well,
it
I
is
was
a
told
different
that his
sign.
report was also false, by the way.
What Will Fleming just said on the audio as well seems to push that narrative.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I don't know.
team
There's a
would
lot of
like
people
to believe that is false.
I agree.
would
There's a lot
imagine
of people
team-
working on that team narrative as well right now. So, and for the guy who usually is the team narrative pusher, it does stand out that he reported something from somebody else's camp.
Yeah.
Put him in the bathroom, though. I agree.
Stay in there, dude. Just a bad guy. All right. Final thoughts, Coley?
Yordani Monegro out for the season.
Spare me.
You are not the Yordani Monegro guy.
I wasn't going to claim to be that guy, but I thought you were going to talk about Blaze going deep. So I was like, you know what? I'll take a step back.
I mean, I obviously get the Blaze stuff too, but you're not.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just going to shut up.
Torn UCL, which you never want to see shell for the season and probably most of next year, I would imagine too. But that means he will not be selected in the Rule 5 draft, which is the only silver lining I can see here. But it otherwise sucks. And yeah, listen, again, love David Ortiz, but there's a reason above all else I'm a Pedro guy. And I appreciate Pedro, who I believe is also an ambassador for the Red Sox still. I know he has been. I don't know if he is still technically. But him being like, Raffy's a good kid. Like, if they wanted to trade him. But there's no need to be tearing him down on the way out. I really, really appreciated that from Pedro when it's so easy right now to just take shots when anyone is exiting this organization. We don't need to do it every time. If they were just like, hey, we just wanted to trade this guy, fine. But we don't always need to take shots and tear everyone down.
Did you hear what Manny said?
I saw what he had said in a video. I don't know. I didn't see if he said anything to you.
Yeah, he did. I asked him. It was funny because in the video we both like did the thing with the hands up thing. Where is the Manny video? All right, here it is. So we were kind of talking about this a little bit. I didn't get the full opinion, but I gotta ask you, what's the deal with Raffy? What's going on? What happened to my guy in Boston?
Come on, Boston. Why you did my guy like that? You don't treat the face of the team like that. Actually, you're not only the respecting Devers, you the respecting the whole fan base.
That's how I feel disrespected, Manny.
You have to. I don't care if you pay me 300 or 400 million. You need to communicate with me. I'm gonna put it this way. It's like you telling Aaron Judge next year, as soon as he get to spring training, hey, I want you to be a catcher. How he's gonna respond?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
How he's gonna respond?
I know.
Aaron Judge at catcher would be very funny.
Yeah, that would go.
That would last a day and a half. That's so fun. The first thing I saw Manny, someone had translated from Spanish where he was like, listen, he needed someone to just talk to him. I wish I had someone talk to me back in my playing days. And it's like, yeah, that's probably pretty accurate, Manny.
Yeah.
Oh.
T, final thoughts?
Yeah, my seat's burning. I don't know what I did to the heating pad, but it really hurts.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Connolly early, let me get this out before I have third degree burns, needs to be called up to AAA at this point in time. 6 innings, a 1-run ball yesterday, 8 Ks, 0 walks. The guy has a 2.17 ERA while down there right now with a 13.4 K per 9 and 3.8 walk per 9.
what does he really have left to learn at AA at this point? He had 8 starts there last year, but get him up to AAA. It's about time. He's throwing that stuff from the left side. Does the velo come and go a little bit? It reminds me of Shane Drowan a little bit at times, where we've seen this stuff kind of play down as you get farther away from spring training, but still he's missing a ton of bats. Pump him up. Worcester deserves him.
Jake's takes?
Just glad we could keep this under 4 hours for T. That's huge for him.
Yeah, you guys hate me.
Bro, you were, I mean, how many fucking times did I try and talk on this podcast and you both were just like, like I couldn't even get a sentence out. You guys were yapping tonight. I tried to fucking get you to bed, T. I tried. I was going to tuck you in. I wanted you in bed by, I don't know, midnight. That was an hour and a half ago.
I'd love for you to tuck me in.
I was trying to tuck you in all goddamn night. You guys started talking about the fucking 9th and 10th and 11th best options in the rotation. No part of you wanted to get this podcast done at a reasonable hour. No part of you.
I never said I was trying to be quick, to be fair to me.
That's fair. But the rest of us are on pain meds. And it would just be nice to lay down. I'll be honest.
I'm like Rafael Devers. All I do is post.
You do post, and we always appreciate that about you.
The clubhouse is split.
Unlike Steve, who's fucking, he's just cranking Mike's Hard Lemonades right now. And where is it? Where is this thing?
It's like Wisconsin, right?
I think it's Wisconsin, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably puking on a sidewalk after having a couple of Mike's Hards. You know? Just crying. He's probably crying.
About?
Because they ran out of twisted teas. And so he switched to the Mike's Hards. Puking, crying, shitting all over the sidewalk.
In Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin. That's what he's doing.
He's gone full T car accident in streets of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Just no car.
Is that what fucked up the back T? One of your multiple pileups?
I wish it was that.
I mean, why couldn't it be that?
So my doctor thinks it could be a hip flexor issue. And then I've been overcompensating, and maybe I did it when I was moving all that shit from Brockton here. And I just have had it get worse, but I don't know. Where I get the MRI results back on Thursday.
Yeah. Well, let's get those game results back because you can get tickets from Game Time. Game Time makes the tickets even faster and easier. Price on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets the first pitch. They have killer last minute deals, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. We were going to go to San Francisco this weekend. We're obviously not going to go now, but if we did, we would have downloaded the Game Time app and got tickets probably last minute once we got there because it's very last minute. If we would have went, we would have been flying out on Friday. Save up to 60% off buying last minutes for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Save even more when you choose a section. You let Game Time choose the seats for you. Know your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy your tickets. The lowest price guarantee, your Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code SECTION10 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the promo code SECTION10, SECTION10 for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we will be back Sunday night, Monday morning for you guys after a very eventful San Francisco Giants Boston Red Sox series in which Rafael Devers will be facing his former team for the first time. Another reminder, playback. We will be live streaming the game on Friday night. Check us out on Cameo. T, you still drowning in requests or what?
Yes, I did a driving. I kind of coached people up on how to drive last night for a little bit. Gave some tips on what to do. Talked about swaying, driving with swag, all those things. So if you want some tips on how to, make some money or hurt people with your car, hit me up.
Yeah, I actually I did one at the airport this morning. This dude sent me a request. He's like, I used to be in shape. Now I'm really fat. He's like, roast me and make fun of me. He sent me like a video of his fat belly.
Me.
Yeah, he was like, he's like, roast me so that I go to the gym. And I was just like, I'm not gonna do that. I was like, I'll give you pointers on how to get back into shape and different motivational tactics, but I'm definitely not going to make fun of you for that.
Someone asked me to talk about Bobby Kelty and rub my nipples. I did perform. You're welcome.
You're just not worried at all about like your social footprint. Like the fact
it's already so bad. Like I feel like there's really just no fixing it. Like, let's be real.
I had someone ask me to help them with a slogan that they were going to put on an anti-Craig Breslow sign for this weekend in San Francisco. That was like hours after the trade.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they've calmed down, but they seem pretty, like they showed me most of the sign. They just wanted to know what to write on it. So that was a lot of responsibility. We'll see what happens there.
Just on like the bottom line says endorsed by the McMahon.
It's me.
Devers just takes a pic next to it in San Francisco. Please.
Well, all right. We'll see you guys then. Ba-doop, doop, doop.
Buenas noches, amigos.